Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Moorpark College. We are here on the campus at Griffin Stadium here at Raider Pavilion. A great night for some football. We have the 5-4 Moorpark Raiders against the 5-4 Antelope Valley Marauders. Two division rivals, conference matchup. This is a big game for both teams. Both are looking to make that final push to get over 500, make their bid for a bowl game. Antelope Valley, their last appearance was last year in a loss to Mount San Jacinto versus Moorpark. They haven't sniffed a bowl game since 2016, the first year under head coach Mike Stewart. They're finally looking to get back to that promised land. Ian, what's going to have to go down for Moorpark end for them to get a lead here today?
Well, Moorpark this season has been historically great at home on defense. Continue to bring the dominance with the defensive presence, D-line in the secondary with Daniel Pierce, C.J. Jackson, Salah Hill, all great guys. It's going to be a turnover battle. Both teams coming into this game with 20-plus turnovers on the season. You're going to have to see the D-line getting in there, bringing some pressure. On the other side of the field for the Marauders, they're a heavy rushing team, so they're going to be bringing the ball down the field quick. They're going to try and run out the clock, and they're going to try and score on the ground. So luckily for the Moorpark defense, they've been very good to stopping the run, and they give up a lot of pass yards, but it's not a very pass-dependent team that they're playing against, so that's going to be good for them. And for the Marauders on offense, Luke, what are they going to have to bring?
Well, for them, as you said, they're a rushing team. They need to limit the turnovers. Basically just counteracting everything that you said is they need to do the opposite of what Moorpark would like, play into their hands. Moorpark allowing, as you mentioned, low rushing yards, only 77 a game, but 100 more per game is what the Antelope Valley offense averages. So they're going to have to find a good balanced attack to catch Moorpark off guard and get into their sort of game, which is low turnovers and running the ball. But, I mean, overall in the season, Moorpark's defense, you said, historically good here at home. They have not lost at home, undefeated. But it's the difference of turnovers. They have 18 turnovers forced at home to only the 6 games on the road. This would be their 5th, so they have a chance to increase that even more, 3 times the amount, not to mention the touchdowns. That's key for Moorpark. They have 3 special teams touchdowns, 5 on the defense. They've done a great job, and as we've seen those games where it helps them get off to an early lead, like against Grossmont and like against Santa Ana, it jump starts the game for them. And speaking of, they haven't had a game here at home that's been an absolute battle since the first game of their home stint, which was against Santa Ana, which they won barely in a comeback with 2 last-second field goals from Burke. So it's going to be key for them to get off to that quick start versus Antelope Valley, a team that has not been the best lately defensively. They gave up 39 points to Santa Barbara. Moorpark, who played them last week, lost 28-18, which put them in this situation. Santa Barbara clinched the conference. Now Moorpark's in this situation. Along with Antelope Valley, they're fighting for second place. The winner, outright second place winner of the conference, second to Santa Barbara, both with losses to them. And it kind of comes down to the point of you're looking towards the bowl game, you know. But this is a big game for both of these teams, and they got to be looking forward to next week, but they can't overstep what's in front of them here tonight.
Correct, Luke. And we saw last week Amari Thomas coming back from injury. He had 3 tackles and half a sack. Look for him to have an explosive game this week. More on the defensive line from Arnulfo Morales, who leads the team in sacks. Last week we saw a breakout game from River Stout. He had over 180 yards, 9 catches, and a touchdown.
And we will be right back. We are going to take a break for the national anthem. And the crowd sits back to their seats after the national anthem sung by Betty Jean Hannah Baker here at Griffin Stadium. And we're almost set to go. Kickoff just 3 minutes away. Antelope Valley is exiting from their lockers. They're headed out onto the field. The Raiders still in the end zone. We'll probably see them head out and run back on later. They're finishing up warm-ups, but Alexander Kapka-Jones, he's an X factor for this game. He leads the conference 6 touchdowns and average yards per game with 79. Not to mention, you mentioned River Stout had a breakout game. He's now 5th with 74 yards per game. So obviously the passing attack a favor for Moorpark, and I think tonight we're going to see a lot of it. I think we're going to see some deep shots early. It does chance that interception risk, but I think it's going to come down to who makes the most explosive plays and who does it first and can run away with the momentum.
Correct, Luke, and we're going to see 2 very different offenses. The Marauders come out. They got a running back committee, expect a lot of I-form, split backs with their guys out there. Amir Bankhead, they got Quay Allen, all of those guys, they got over 300 yards rushing. And then on the Moorpark side of it, heavy passing attack. Bennett Johnston, McLeod Croton, we've seen him nearly every game go in, whether it's towards the end of the game because of a loss or because they're up. And we've seen a bunch of receivers come out into their own and make catches and be able to make big plays out there for the offense, and expect it to be an offensive battle.
And we have 2 captains for the Raiders. Number 54, Amari Thomas. He's joined alongside his teammate. Number 57, that's Spencer Davis, both from the Ventura area, Newberry Park and Camarillo High School graduates. And the Raiders lined up in their end zone. They're ready to go. And both teams, I mean, you got to be locked and loaded. This could be your last collegiate game. You're not guaranteed a game next week in a bowl. And obviously we talked about that's what makes it so important for either of these teams. You got to put in your best foot forward in this last week heading into the postseason, hoping that you're selected for a bowl game. You got to hope that you did enough to earn a spot to play one more week.
Right, and heading into the postseason 5-5 doesn't look good compared to 6-4 and having an even record. So both teams are going to be out here battling. We'll see how they come out.
We're under a minute till kickoff as the toss was away. But for the Raiders, you mentioned we saw Croton and Johnston. Croton actually led in passing with 155. He was ahead of Johnston last week, so I wouldn't be surprised if we definitely see him, as you mentioned, every single game. He definitely had a bigger impact last week, came in, did good in terms of yards, but no quarterback threw a touchdown for Moorpark, so they got to flip the ship really quickly.
Of course, and we've seen them win games so far without offensive touchdowns, but I think in this game it's both the same records from either team. It's going to be a lot closer than we've seen. And once again, trying to defend their home record here in the Raider Pavilion with 4-0 so far.
5-0 mark would be, I mean, that could even play into a bowl game. You see 5-0 versus another 6-4 team. That looks pretty good. A team that knows how to win at home and defend their turf. And I give that advantage to Moorpark. Antelope Valley, they're only 2-1 on the road. They're not as successful as Moorpark has been. They have losses all over back and forth. But for the Raiders, 5-0 at home, 4-0 coming into this game, that plays a huge part in their confidence, and you know that's got to be in the back of the minds of all the Antelope Valley players.
Correct, and if there's any home game to win, you want to win this last one in front of your fans and hopefully put in a good word for postseason with a 6-4 record here.
And Moorpark won the toss. They elected to defer until the second half. A common theme, they like putting the defense out first. No surprise there with the stats they've put up, especially here at home. But we'll get to see Antelope Valley give it a shot and see what their attack is. You mentioned expecting a lot of I-form sets and a lot of run football, which something Moorpark has struggled with throughout this entire season is stopping the run. They've been very well at limiting passing, especially here at home. I mean, they played L.A. Pierce and L.A. Valley, and they limited to under 300 yards passing combined in 2 games.
Of course, strategy from Moorpark, they like to get up early with the score and put the other team in passing down situations to where they can get their pass rush in there, and the secondary can get out there and make some interceptions, put the pressure on the QB.
Moorpark has had a player disqualified from the game and a 15-yard penalty. A flag came out after the coin toss when Moorpark was doing their pregame chant to run onto the field. It's number 91, Roberto Ruggiero, who we've called his name a lot for some late hits this season, and he has just been disqualified, as it seems, from the officials, or either he was one penalty away, but that is, I mean, that's not a start you want. I mean, a personal penalty that costs you 15 yards, your kick. I mean, we know Johnson is a great kickoff return, or Burke as well. They're great at sending the ball into the back of the end zone, but this puts them in a hole.
Right. This is going to make the defense come out here. They're going to need some more intensity after that penalty. It's going to give the Marauders great field position as well.
I don't know if I've ever seen a penalty before a game has
I think
started,
that's a
but
first.
that's on Moorpark, and the kick is away, and we're underway. Returned at the 25 and taken up the middle. Pierce got blocked inside. He's got a lane towards the middle, cuts back on the right, and brought down across midfield. They'll mark him at the 47 of the Raiders.
Back to return, number 6, Reese Robinson, also their number 1 leading receiver.
We're going to be calling his name a lot tonight.
He has over 400 yards on the season and 2 touchdowns. Expect to see him in the starting lineup. Coming out on the field, number 16, Darius Warren for the Marauders, and number 2, Amir Bankhead in the backfield at running back.
The offense runs through number 2. And they're in the gun, tight end to the left. They go pass to start. Short, high, and incomplete. Is looking for Darrell Lloyd from Lancaster. A little too high from Warren.
They're trying to get some yards early in the passing game. They're already in great field position past the 50-yard line. It's a quick pass on the hitch right there. It's a little high, but brings up a 2nd and 10 for the Marauders.
And now they give it to Bankhead on the right side, all over it. Thomas is there, and Amari Thomas on the contain forces him to run out of bounds, where he's swept up by a couple of Raiders.
There, once again, we see Amari Thomas, defensive captain for the Raiders. He sets the edge right there, and he's able to push him out of bounds with help from number 43, Christian Cahulan, as well. We see a trips left look from the Marauders.
Well, 3rd down and long. They go play action. Warren looking deep over the middle. Connects this time. He's got Lloyd for a 1st down. They'll make it 17. And a big 1st down on 3rd for Antelope Valley to move the ball.
An obvious passing down. They go for the flood concept. He finds him in the middle of the field on the curl, and it picks up a 1st down.
And the handoff to Bankhead up the middle, trips forward, and he's got 6. And Antelope Valley's definitely got a plan of attack. It's hit the Raiders quick. They're flying to the line of scrimmage after each play.
They're running the hurry up. They're trying to tire out this Raider defense early.
And a quick screen to the side for Floyd. And that one's going to go for a loss of 1.
Another quick pass concept. Comes up with a couple yards and brings up a 3rd and short here for the Marauders.
Another 3rd down. They're 1 for 1 tonight. Last week they didn't do as efficient. They're 8 of 19. Going deep. He's got a man open and incomplete. He overthrew it. That one out of bounds. No chance for Lloyd.
It's a 3rd and 5 situation here. They go for the passing down. Darius Warren drops back, and he's able to get the ball out, but it's not going to get to his receiver. He's hit while he's thrown as well.
Now they're going to go for it on 4th down. He's got 2 receivers to each side. They'll go straight pass. They go screen, and incomplete. They tried the wide receiver screen. Pressure got there in time from Luis Hernandez, and that falls incomplete. Turnover on downs. We talked about the defense and turnovers. It might not be a fumble interception, but on downs is just about as good.
Yeah. Aggressive play calling right there. They get the extra yards from the penalty. Can't come up with it on 4th and 5. Turns the ball over. It'll be a 1st and 10 here on the 28-yard line for your Moorpark Raiders.
And we will see McLeod Croton take the start. This is his 2nd start of the season. As we mentioned, we've seen him play in every game, but he outplayed Johnston against Santa Barbara, so they're going to give him the nod. at least for now, to start this game. Expect to see both, but here's a handoff to Landless on the left side, and he's swarmed in the backfield. Gannon Guinness, the safety, flies up and makes the play for a loss.
It's a draw concept with Landless, their leading rusher, and the hole opens up, but there's a safety there to meet him, and that brings up a 2nd and 12 here for the Moorpark Raiders.
And the Raiders, both teams not necessarily a huddled team, as we've seen. I mean, we knew the Raiders weren't Antelope Valley unsure of coming into this game. Haven't seen them all year. But it's clear, and Croton rollout pass complete to Davis in the flats. He'll pick up about 3. And 3rd down and long, Ian, what are you expecting from Moorpark?
3rd down and long. They've been in the trips right set here. Expect a pass. We got Alexander Jones here on the island by himself. Nope. Now we're in the spread with Batarse there with him.
They move the ball up another extra inch for the Raiders. And they got him on the hard count. Free play for Croton. Going deep to Jones. That's going to draw another flag. That's very clear pass interference. Threw him down by the jersey. And this is going to be in heavy favor for Moorpark. That was Malachi Livingston who's going to get called for the penalty.
So here we see 2 penalties. They get the free play, so they decide to throw it up to their main guy, Alexander Jones, and a defensive pass interference from number 41. They will decline the penalty.
Well, smart decision, decline the offsides, take the 15 yards. And a 3rd down penalty gives the Raiders a first. And I wonder if Livingston knew that it was a free play and was just hoping to save the touchdown, or possibly, I mean, Jones was well past 15. It would have been probably double that on a catch. Here's Croton. Hand off to Landless, left side, and he'll fall forward for 3.
Similar to the first play we saw on the first drive, Landless takes the ball on the draw. He's able to get through the hole, pick up a few yards. 2nd and 8 here for the Moorpark Raiders.
As we mentioned, you thought we'd go to a couple more trips, but Moorpark, I mean, they've done that all year, but right now they have Batarse a lot of the times in a split, and then he's in the backfield about even with Davis as he motions, and they'll go roll out, and firing under pressure, incomplete as Croton takes the hit.
Smart play from Croton. Pressure in his face right away on the rollout. He's trying to get the ball out to Cameron Davis, slipping into the flat. Not able to get it to him, throws it out of bounds, keeps the drive going. That brings up a 3rd and 7 here.
And the shotgun once again, Croton, we haven't seen him under center. Usually the only quarterback that goes under center is Luke Rasmussen for the Raiders, and that's typically in short yard situations when they want to do sort of a run option with that quarterback. And in motion, Revis Keener. Croton rolls to that side, firing deep. He's got Batarse open and complete across the 40. Mark him at the 35-yard line. That's going to be a 1st down, Moorpark, and they're in to Marauder territory.
Great flood concept. You got Christian Revis Keener motioning across. He hits the flat, and then you got Batarse with the corner route over the top.
Well, Moorpark hurries up, and it's a keeper for Croton. That definitely fooled the defense, and he picks up 5. So a quick play call. They go bunch, and Croton carries it for about half the distance to go.
Good play call with the hurry up. Cloud Crowton's able to get some yards on the ground and brings up a 2nd and 8 here.
And they give to Landless this time, and he shoots through the gap. There is going to be right at the 1st down marker, and they're going to move the chains. So another 1st down for Moorpark, and Landless is building up a little bit of steam the more this game goes on. He went backwards to start, but since then, all positive runs. And they'll go option again. Landless, now he's not going to get anywhere. I'll bring up 2nd and long.
They like that 1st down draw play with Landless. Gets him a couple yards. It's a safe play. Here it brings up a 2nd and 10. In the spread formation with Alex Jones and Christian Revis Keener on the left side.
Croton's going to definitely try the hard count all night. He got on the first drive right at the beginning. And it kept this drive alive with the pass interference on the same play. Now here's Croton. He wanted Jones deep. He's going to pump fake again, and he's going to tuck it and run. Looked for Revis Keener, and he's inside the 20 to the 17. That's going to bring up a very manageable 3rd down to go, and the first trip to the red zone for the Raiders comes on their first offensive drive, led by Croton.
Croton playing safely and efficiently here. There he takes it. Nobody's open. Takes it out of the pocket. Picks up some yards on his feet. Brings up a 3rd and short.
And they're going to go play action. In his face, there was pressure all over it. And that's going to go way out of the back of the end zone. And it's going to bring on Daniel Burke for the field goal attempt.
Promising drive. Maybe ending with some field goal points here. Not exactly what they wanted, but they got a stop on defense and they got some points on offense.
So a 38-yard attempt for Daniel Burke, his long of the year 45. Burke, and the kick on the way is good for Moorpark, and Burke knocks it through the uprights, and the Raiders lead 3-0 with 9:17 to go in the first quarter.
Drive led by McCroughton. A couple penalties helped him out a little bit early in the drive, but they're moving the ball efficiently. They come up with some points at the end of this one, and the Marauders will be set to return here.
Now we'll see where the kick goes, because without the 15-yard penalty.
Correct, they will get a normal kickoff for this one.
I mean, even look, the returners are still past the 15, so obviously they don't think that Johnson has the leg to get it to the end zone, which we've seen him do it on a handful of occasions.
Back to return for the Marauders, number 11, Iverson Daniels, and number 6, Reese Robinson.
No, we didn't even see Robinson get a pass attempt towards him on a heavy passing drive from Antelope Valley. It was every single pass was to Darrell Lloyd. So maybe they'll try to incorporate him a little bit more if the last one was a turnover on downs, kick away. This one fielded at the 10. And Robinson spinning around. He's going to get a lane on the left side across the 30 to the 40. He's going to get past midfield again. He beat the corner. He is gone. Touchdown, Antelope Valley. 90 yards on a kick return, and they have taken their first lead of the game just like that.
Well, you see early in the return, it looks like a right return. Everyone's setting up a block to the right. He hits into one of his own players, bounces off, and he's able to take a lane to the left side, like you said, Luke, and he just barely cuts past the kicker right there, and he's off to the races. That's a touchdown, Marauders. So there we see a special teams touchdown. We would have thought defense or special teams would make a presence in this game sometime. Here we see an early special teams touchdown from the Marauders.
And we repeated that a lot. That was the biggest key to this game, as you just said, and the snap is muffed, and it's going to be a no try for Antelope Valley. So it's 6-3, and their special teams once again playing a factor in this game. Instead of needing a touchdown to tie, it's only a field goal game. And that could lay out the course for the rest of it. Now Antelope Valley is on the same playing field in pace as Moorpark.
Correct. Points from either team here early. The Moorpark Raiders will get a chance to respond to that special teams touchdown. Back to return, we see Christian Rivas-Keener and Daniel Pierce.
Well, Pierce, he's known around here for his kick returns. He has a punt return and kick return on the season, so wouldn't be surprised if he tries to answer with one of his own. This will be the first time he gets a chance tonight. And I would imagine we see Croton once again on the offense. He commanded him downfield. He led a pretty solid drive, nothing that you would complain about as a coach. He was efficient and safe with the football, and here's Rivas-Keener on the return. He goes to the right. Rivas-Keener gets a corner, and he's across the 40 to the 45.
So once again, we see another great return, this time from the Moorpark Raiders and Christian Rivas-Keener. We have a penalty on the field.
And if this is on Moorpark, we talked about the last couple weeks, just about every game we've covered since probably the first one against Grossmont. Even back to then, you cannot let 15-yard penalties wipe away big plays. We've had 4 Moorpark touchdowns that we've called that have been wiped away due to a taunting penalty.
Of course, and in these close games, you can't have penalties take you out of the game. You can't let the refs decide how the game goes, and just got to stay playing your own game. Continue to play your own football out here. See what the call is.
Yeah, no sign yet. Referees will talk to both coaches, it seems. And they could be offsetting penalty. This is going to go back on Moorpark, that's for sure. They're jogging this one all the way back to the 29-yard line. So a 15-yard penalty on the Raiders. Wipes away a great return and a great field position. But again, that's chippiness. That's putting yourself over the team in that situation where you get a great return. Just run back to your sidelines. You don't got to mouth off or say anything. Don't touch anyone. Just play the game of football, and it ends up costing you.
Correct. Especially early in these drives on the return.
And 47 is ejected from the game. That's the second ejection of the Raiders, and we're in the first quarter. That is Robert Cosby, a sophomore tight end from Chaminade, and he is gone. So in his could-be last game as a Raider, he only sees about 5 minutes of action before his number is called and booted out of the game.
It's got to be a little deflating for the Moorpark offense here, coming out thinking they're going to have better field position, and now you end up back in your own territory. One of your guys is thrown out of the game.
So Croton out of the gun. He will do a stretch to the left side. Landless tries to fit through, nowhere to go. Gannon Guinness again, great edge set by him to force no lanes for Landless and a pickup of only a yard, 2nd and long.
So far, this Marauder defense has done a great job of stopping the run. They're setting the edge. A lot of these running plays from the Raider offense have gone to this left side with 51 on the Marauders.
Speaking of 51, almost jumped off. Here's Landless now. We'll pick up 5, and that'll set up a good 3rd down and 5 for the Raiders. Nice pickup on 2nd down.
Here we see a 3rd and 4 for the Moorpark Raiders. They'll line up in the trips right set with Arcelis Johnson at the top, Blake Batarse and Ty Eli in the slot.
The matchup on an island, Alex Jones. Croton looks that way. The out route overthrown and incomplete. Great coverage on the play by Ethan John.
You mentioned Alexander Jones out here on the island. That's their #1 guy. Expect to look at him. It's 3rd and short, quick hitch. They run the out route. They're not able to complete in time. That'll bring out the punter here, Daniel Burke.
That's going to hurt for Moorpark. Your offense, you did a good drive the first time, but your defense now, you got to get them on the field. You cannot let up another special teams touchdown. Your defense has been playing so great. You got to get them on the field in terms of punts and kickoffs whenever you can. This one takes a Raider roll to the 25. We're at 1st down and 10, Marauders.
Down the 27-yard line.
We will see number 16, Darius Warren, come out to play once again.
Antelope will take over 1st and 10 from their own 27-yard line.
We haven't seen much of Warren, only the first drive of the game, and he's been on the sidelines a long time. We'll see how that affects the offense.
Here they line up in a spread set. Amir Bankhead in the backfield.
They go with a motion, fake, give to Bankhead to the right side. He's going to be stopped back and a loss on the play.
Way to swarm from the Moorpark defense. Bankhead gets the ball. He's off to the right side. He's trying to break a tackle, trying to get into open space. And the Moorpark defense just swallows him up in the backfield. That'll bring up a 2nd and 12 here for the Marauders.
They go motion again out of the shotgun, deep over the middle, incomplete, fell at the feet of Pearson Jackson. But 3rd down and long after the incompletion.
Risky business there for Darius Warren. He's trying to hit his guy over the middle of the field there, but he overthrows him just a little bit. Near the hands of Daniel Pierce.
And Ruggiero is in, so he must not have been disqualified. They must have said he's one away to start the game. And Warren firing over the middle and intercepted. CJ Jackson comes away with it, now on the return to the 40. It was overshot for Darrell Lloyd, and CJ Jackson comes away with it, and a late flag once again.
Great play by CJ Jackson. Once again, Darius Warren trying to hit his guy over the middle of the field, overthrows him, and it goes right into the hands of CJ Jackson. And a great return. He returns it over 15 yards here. We'll see what this penalty is about.
That's going to be 15 yards on the end of the run. Personal foul on Antelope Valley. So CJ Jackson, a game changer. And once again, this first quarter, in the first half of the first quarter, has been packed with special teams and defensive plays that can change the course of this game.
Right, and something we're familiar seeing out here with the interceptions and fumble recoveries. This Moorpark defense averages a turnover, almost a defensive touchdown a game here, and they average 2 turnovers a game. Expect them to be making some more plays. Now we see McLeod Croton out here with Gabe Landless.
We'll go stretch to the left, Landless. He's going to be swarmed nowhere to go. Flag is down. Normally this will be a hold on the offense, but it was thrown when the first defender met Landless. We'll see. Could be a possible face mask as well.
And the referees are discussing.
And will be a holding on the Raiders, and they're going to decline. They'll take the loss of 4 on the run and the loss of down.
2nd and 14 here for the Raiders. They'll line up in the spread formation here.
On the Landless runs, they've kind of been up and down. I mean, we saw a couple good runs for him for about 7-8 yards, but other than that, it's been a lot of negative yards or 1 to 2 yard plays. Wouldn't be surprised if they try to mix in a little bit more passing with Croton. He's out of the gun once again, stacking the box. Antelope Valley will blitz and back off. Croton deep for Batarse. And he had, I believe that was River Stout, wide open in the end zone. And he wasn't, I don't even know if he saw it, and that was just an overthrow to Batarse or very underthrown for Stout, but pressure. And Croton looks to the sidelines and says, that one's on me. He knows he had Stout deep.
Yeah, he has his eyes on Batarse. Batarse has a step on his defender, but he doesn't notice River Stout out on the outside, 3 or 4 yards out in front of the defender. Could have been a touchdown there. Brings up a 3rd and 14.
They show blitz. They got him off sides. Free play. He's going to go for Stout this time. Incomplete in the end zone.
McCrouton, good with the hard count. Pulls him off sides to get a free play, and he says, I didn't see you last play, but I see you this play. Throws it up to River Stout. Gives him a chance, but they get the penalty anyway.
That's the second time Antelope Valley has jumped the free play. I mean, Stout, definitely a jump ball receiver. Perfect guy to go to in this situation. He's 6'4". He tries to use that frame, but unable to come down with it. But that does make it 3rd down and 9 to go.
Already in field goal range. Looking for some more points here for the Moorpark Raider offense.
Revis Keener tripped out of the motion. They go slant, batted down at the line. He had Alexander Jones wide open on the slant route, but the defense gets their hands up and will force another field goal attempt for Daniel Burke. And keep in mind that missed extra point could lead to a tie game now if Burke's able to send it through for the 2nd time.
Right, and once again we see efficient drive, but mostly led by penalties. Here we see a field goal attempt. Moorpark continuing to drive.
This one 47 yards. This would pass his season high. Burke on the way. And it hits the upright and goes straight down. And no good. So Antelope Valley will take over, still leading 6-3 with 5:57 to go in the first quarter. And there's a special teams missed opportunity.
Yep, there we see a missed field goal. Looked like it would have been good from 50, but just a little bit off to the left, and it hits the post and drops. Now we will see the Marauders come out here in decent field position, right at the 24-yard line. Darius Warren out here with his offense.
Well, the biggest part of that for Moorpark, CJ Jackson gets you an interception, 15 yards on a penalty, and you're not able to pick up a first down. That's costly. And they do go to Bankhead here. They'll get about 1, and second down and 9 to go.
So far, the Moorpark Raider defense is able to contain Amir Bankhead here. They're their number one guy. They want to get him the ball. They want to get some yards on the ground, take some time off the clock. That's what they're trying to do. They've been able to contain him well. And obviously we've seen an interception from CJ Jackson.
And they go to Bankhead again. This time he gets to the outside on the right hand. Stumbles. Correction, that's number 26 on the carry. Markevius Evans. And now Jackson Marshall will check into the game.
So that's one of the things we've talked about. They have a running back committee. They like to rotate 2-3 guys in there, get them all some touches, get some yards on the ground.
Injured Raider on the field. CJ Jackson is down at the 40. Hopefully he's all right. I mean, we've talked about him all year. He is their go-to lockdown cornerback. They put him over everyone's best receiver, and he's already got an interception tonight. He leads the team with now 3 on the season. At least he has tied Daniel Pierce in that aspect with leading the team. And still down on the field, Jackson. 4:53 to go in this first quarter. And we've seen a little bit of a surprise. We've seen a lot of balance in the sense of Antelope Valley's definitely seemingly pass first versus the Raiders are run on first and second down, I'd say about 60% of the time.
Right, Luke, like you said, both teams trying to get into some unfamiliar territory on their offensive schemes here. We see some pass-heavy attacks from the Marauders and then some early run plays from the Moorpark Raiders with Landless. Both seemingly not as efficient with those attempts, but so far it's a close game, 6-3.
There's a fumbled snap. We'll finally corral it and hand it off, and every Raider is in on that play. A loss of about 3 due to forward progress.
Here we see.
That's going to bring out the punting unit.
And that D-line setting the edge right there, setting the line of scrimmage back in their own backfield, and coming up with a big stop here to make it a 4th and 5. And the punt unit is out with Batarse and Daniel Pierce back to return.
And the punt away over the head of Pierce. It'll bounce back for Antelope Valley to the 27-yard line. And out of bounds at the 27, so Moorpark will take over. First down and 10 to go, and they will have their first opportunity in a while.
The Moorpark Raider offense set to hit the field. Once again, McLeod Croton out at the quarterback position. And Gabe Landless in the backfield.
They'll play action. They throw to Davis in the flat. Landless uses the decoy there, and Davis lowering the shoulder. He picks up 8.
Cameron Davis, a familiar back we've seen in the Moorpark Raider offensive set. He lines up in the H-back position, slips out into the flat. He's able to catch the ball and pick up a few extra yards after contact, making a 2nd and short very manageable for the Moorpark Raiders.
And play action. We'll give to Landless correction. Fooled me up here. Well, that's a first down run for Gabe Landless and the Raiders.
Trying to get some ground yards early here. Moorpark Raiders continue to hand the ball off to Landless.
Well, they're sticking with Davis in at tight end. Well, motion again. This time they get a keeper for Croton. Fooled everyone, and he's got a first down. Croton's got a lane. Croton trying to turn on the Jets inside the 10, stumbling, dives. And they're going to mark him short at the 3-yard line. McLeod Croton dusted the defense.
Insane effort from McLeod Croton right there to try and pick up a touchdown. He picks up 40 yards on that run right there. 50 yards, excuse me. And that's going to get them into the red zone. A promising rush right there from McLeod Croton.
I believe that's the longest run for the Raiders on the entire season. In their passing, they've definitely surpassed that. They have a couple 70-yard touchdowns, but now the handoff into the end zone. Touchdown, Gabe Landless.
Luke, and like you said, both teams sort of switching it up on offense. We've seen a lot of rushing early from the Moorpark Raiders. There we see huge run from McLeod Croton, sets up a quick 2-yard touchdown with Gabe Landless. A very promising drive, makes it 9-6, and we see Daniel Burke out here to attempt the extra point.
And what a flip of the script. It was just a simple first down and 10 play. We thought just another run to Landless, but Croton is flashing the speed he's had. He's done it a couple times tonight, but nothing like that, and that is one of the best plays we've seen. And the kick up and good, so 10-6 with 2:27. And it's a 4-point advantage for the Raiders.
Right, you said we've seen some speed from McLeod Croton, but there he gets to the second level and he turns on the burners and he's able to pick up an extra 30, 40 yards right there, set up a big play and a touchdown.
You know he wanted to get that end zone. He reached out with everything he had, but just a little bit short. But the next play, Landless able to punch it in, and I'm sure he'll be happy with the lead.
Regardless, you win or lose as a team. May not get the stat there, but you get the touchdown on the drive and the yardage.
And now Antelope Valley will look to answer. They are down for the second time in the game. The Raiders started the scoring with a Burke field goal. He's 1 for 2 on the night. And Robinson, dangerous returner. This one will bounce, and this one will be picked up finally by Robinson. He will be brought down immediately at the 15 by Christian Rivas-Keener.
There we see a huge special teams play there. It's a squib kick. Bounces off a couple Marauders' shoulders. And Christian Rivas-Keener flies down there to make a tackle, bringing him down on the 15-yard line. That'll be a 1st and 10 for the Marauders, back in their own territory.
Well, Rivas-Keener, despite his kick return to midfield being wiped away, he's been very impactful on the special teams early on. So sort of a battle between him and Robinson in terms of helping out the special team units for either team. Here's Bankhead on the carry to the left side and stopped right up the middle. The inside runs for Bankhead have not been there at all tonight.
Right, and you got to give credit to that Moorpark Raider defensive line. They're definitely pushing back on the Marauder offensive line and pushing them back into their own backfield. And they're getting hands on Bankhead early, and they're able to get secondary guys up there making tackles, swarming the running back.
As Warren steps up in the pocket, fires on the run, and a big hit from Daniel Pierce. But hanging on for the catch, Iverson Daniels. And that's a first down that'll move the chains.
Almost a broken play here. Darius Warren steps up in the pocket, avoids pressure, gets the ball out there to his guy, and he's able to catch it and take a big hit and bring up a first down.
And a little messed up play, a flag, and this is going to be a loss of 4. I'm not sure at all what happened there. The snap was bobbled, juggled.
I don't think Darius Warren was ready for the snap there.
They might get a penalty on Antelope Valley for not being set, because as you mentioned, Warren probably was not anticipating the snap there. He didn't look it at all.
You'll be correct, Luke.
Well, they
the
end
legal
up
shift.
declining it.
And Moorpark will take the loss of down and loss of yards instead of the penalty.
We've seen a lot of penalties, but the majority outside the personal fouls have been declined due to the play not going very well for the other team. And they want to get their defenses closer to that third down situation. The second time a team has chosen second and long over first and even longer. They keep it with Warren. He will roll to his left, and he's got nowhere to go. Drop for a loss by Christian Kohulan.
They attempt for the RPO play action right there. Darius Warren rolls out a little bit. He's got nobody open. He wants to take it himself, but there's just nowhere to go. Christian Kohulan sweeps him up off his feet. Brings up a 3rd and 12 here for the Marauders.
Well, under a minute to go. We got 45 seconds and counting in the first quarter. And it's been a very action-packed first quarter. Here's Warren taking the snap, stepping up under pressure, evades one sack. He'll go back inside, and he's dropped for a loss of 8.
Looked like the ball came out at the end of the play there. Now we see Darius Warren on the ground.
He looks to be in a lot of pain. The sack made by Christian Kohulan. He's one of those players we talked about needing to step up in the absence of Thomas and Casillas, and he has, and he is still on a hot streak. But Warren down, and this does not look great for Antelope Valley. I hope he's all right.
And their leading quarterback on the season, Darius Warren. Their second string, Challen Crawford. He has been efficient on the season, but he hasn't seen nearly as much time as Darius Warren has.
Well, that's not a good look for Antelope Valley. You're in a must-win game for both teams, and having your quarterback go down on a sack, you're about to punt the ball away, and you don't know if you're going to get him again. Especially down on the scoreboard, down 4. I gotta just hope he's all right. I mean, he took a shot. He stepped back into the pocket after rolling out, after evading the first sack attempt by Lapola. Went right back inside, and Kohulan lit him up.
He's up on his feet.
He's being helped off, but it's good to see him walking. Seems to be a lower leg injury. We'll keep you updated if we see him check back in or anything on the sidelines. But for now, as you said, we'll have to wait to see who the quarterback is for next drive. The punt unit out. It's 4th and 18 after the sack.
Back to return, we got Blake Batarse and Daniel Pierce. Back deep, expecting a deep kick here.
And a safe return unit for the Raiders. This one away. Pierce runs up, fair caught at the 46 of the Raiders, and Croton will come out for his 3rd drive. No correction, 4th drive of the game. And he's led them to 10 points, a field goal, and a touchdown. On top of that, a 58-yard run. And with 6.7 to go in the first quarter, it's safe to assume this would be the last play before we flip sides.
You see number 25, Royce Powell, hit the field for the first time this evening.
Well, Powell was the starting back to start the year. He was the only player to throw a touchdown last week against Santa Barbara. Here's an inside handoff. We'll lose 2. So 2nd and 12 after Powell gets stuffed up the middle. And that'll bring us to the second quarter. The first ends 10-6 in favor of the Raiders with possession.
The Moorpark Raider offense moving efficiently so far. Big plays from McLeod Croton. Yet to see any huge plays from any wide receivers yet. We've seen River Stout open on a missed attempt for a touchdown late in the second drive. But so far, running it well, running it efficiently, scoring points so far.
And the Raiders, I mean, it's going to be an interesting game from here on out, not knowing the status of Warren. I mean, he's up in, I don't know. It could just be a bad hit that he's able to shake off, and they just got him really good on that one. I mean, that happens. Sometimes you're bad for 2-3 drives, but then you're feeling it later in the game and you're ready to go. We'll see. I mean, that's huge for Antelope Valley if he's not able to come back.
Right, and we've seen their backup QB, Chalon Crawford, has hit the field a few times this season. He is fairly efficient, throwing the ball over 70% completion, and maybe him not playing as much gives them a different edge on this game. Not as much play time, but not as much film as well. You know, you can't really game plan for someone you haven't really seen. So we'll have to see how the Marauder offense responds when they hit the field.
They go split back. Powell in motion to left. A swing pass to Powell, almost tipped at the line. And he'll make his way back to the original line to gain at the 45, and the Raiders are in danger of going 3 and out.
Here we see a 3-10. First play was a run. Second play, short pass. Brings it back to the line of scrimmage. And we will see them in the spread formation now. Obvious passing down as it's a 3rd and 10.
We haven't seen much success through the air. A lot of great pass rush from Antelope Valley. They only have 17 sacks on the year, just over 1.5 per game. Croton will run to his left, fires downfield, and he's got Alex Jones. The C on the spot. He looks to be about inches short. And they're going to move the chains without a measurement. They'll give it to him. First down. And Alexander Jones, with his first catch, goes for 10.
Right, and that's what we've been looking for, Luke. Their #1 receiver on the team and in the conference here. Get the ball to him early. He picks up a first down.
A screen to Jones, wrapped up, nowhere to go. Cameron Carlisle.
Attention fans, I was just informed there are free cupcakes at the Grand Canyon College.
And a tough sighting. We see Alexander Jones limping off the field. They send River Stout out there as his replacement. Not a guy you would like to see leave the game.
And
he's going to walk it off.
That's good news for them, and here we go. 2nd down and 12 after a loss of 2. Showing blitz. Once again, a lot of the time they stack the box. They'll pull the guard, hand off to Powell, and he's got nowhere to go. He'll go for just back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 12.
In this drive, electing to use Powell as their leading back. A little bit more of a power rusher. Trying to fit him in through there in the defensive line. It's going to be a 3rd and long, 3rd and 13 here.
Yeah, Royce Powell, not the biggest player on the Moorpark roster out on the field, that's for sure, but he is a downhill runner. He's not afraid to get right in the mix of things. And Moorpark looking to get the play from the sideline. A big 3rd down in plus territory. 12 minutes to go in the first half. And a low snap. Croton pump fakes, fires deep on the double move. Complete inside the 20. River Stout.
And we said it in the pregame early. River Stout had a breakout game last week, 180 yards. And there we see him again with a 30-yard pickup. Bringing them into the red zone with a first down. That'll be a 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line. Moorpark Raiders.
And here's the run up the middle, pick up 5. And a huge 3rd down pass. The pump fake got him on the double move. And you mentioned Stout breakout game, 180 yards. We'd seen him in the offense a little bit progressively more and more about halfway through the season, but he was sort of a 2-3 catch guy a game for about 20 apiece, just sort of a shot play guy. But 180 yards, he's definitely solidified himself in this offense. As Powell will bring him 2 yards shy the first.
Picks up 3, brings up 3rd and 2.
And you got to give credit to McLeod Croton here. Definitely found some comfortability in his guy, River Stout. Now we will see a different QB set here with Luke Rasmussen. And we see Cameron Davis in here, power set, expect a run on 3rd and short here.
They hustle the line, it's a toss. And Davis gonna try to fight forward. They're gonna mark him short. He's stuffed at the line of scrimmage.
Luke Rasmussen and a quarterback pitch to Cameron Davis. Takes the
The whistle's
Picked up
blue.
a couple yards.
line, but just short, brings up 4th.
Well, 4th and inches here. What are you thinking?
Well, based on the last drive from the Marauders, we see their quarterback go down. They're in an iffy situation on offense. I think you got to go for it here.
And they will try to take advantage. Rasmussen fakes the pump, fires to the end zone. Broken up and incomplete. There's no flags, tight coverage on Ty Eli. And the Marauders take over on downs inside their own 10. They'll mark them at the 6-yard line.
We see a huge missed opportunity here. You have your obvious rushing formation in with Luke Rasmussen, and you got Cameron Davis and Ty Eli. And you notice in the back of the end zone there, River Stout wide open, calling for the ball, but he throws it into coverage, and it's batted down. Now the Marauders take the field. At QB, we see number 3, Chalon Crawford.
So it will be Crawford in at quarterback to replace the injured Warren. And out of the shotgun, there you go, handoff to Bankhead to the right side, and he's going to be wrapped up for another loss. He's going to be driven back into the end zone, but forward progress will get him at the 3. And that Raider front 7 is dominating.
That Raider front 7 definitely setting the presence right there. They're in the backfield. They're continuing to make stops, wrapping up, gang tackles. We love to see it. It's 2nd and 12 here. We'll see how they respond.
Out of the gun once again. He's got a tight end to the right. Handoff to Bankhead up the middle. He will bounce off a defender. He's dangerously close to the end zone. They'll mark him at the 1.
So continuing to lose yards, this has got to be an obvious passing situation. Yet to see an attempt from Crawford. Now brings up a 3rd and 14 here.
Moorpark's got a key on Darrell Lloyd. He has been the go-to target tonight. And on 3rd and long, as you said, obvious passing situation. But in a situation like this, Moorpark, you don't give up any yards. You could call out the punt unit and go for a block. You're backed up in the end zone. The punter's only going to have about 1 step compared to the normal 3. Here's a hand up the middle. Bankhead breaks loose, and Pierce saves a touchdown on a high tackle and a huge play.
Amir Bankhead bursts through that line, gets right past the defensive lineman into the secondary, and it's just Daniel Pierce out there, and he's actually able to make the tackle before he gets the first. Looked like wide open space, possibly a touchdown.
And
play saved by Daniel Pierce.
What a play by Daniel. And Bankhead, great job finding the hole and bursting through. I mean, a high tackle, not often you see one of those work, but it was all Pierce could do. I mean, Bankhead was running full head of steam straight at him and took a great angle to avoid Pierce, but Pierce just got his hands on an amazing tackle, as you said, to stop him before the first down.
And they go for it here.
And they won't get it. Moorpark gets the ball back at the 14-yard line. A turnover on downs for Antelope Valley. And are you surprised with the fake?
I think that's an aggressive play call that you just cannot have here. It's only 10-6. You lose your quarterback, but that definitely doesn't put faith in your defense or your offense there. Going for it. You're backed up against your own end zone. This is, regardless, this is free points if you give the ball back to the Raider offense.
I'd have to agree with that. Your quarterback does go down, and I could understand why that would pop into your head of maybe we need this play to, we need an offensive drive here. But as you said, you're giving almost free points to the Raiders as long as they take care of the football. Landless in motion. They'll go deep to the end zone. Arcelis Johnson off the fingertips and incomplete.
There we see our first attempt to Arcelis Johnson, a big play guy here for the Moorpark Raiders. 6'5", big frame. An obvious mismatch here against the corner. Puts it in the right spot, but not quite able to bring it in. Brings up a 2nd and 10 here in the red zone.
I think Croton's gained some confidence since that play to Stout. Here's Landless, a delayed handoff. He will pick up maybe 2. And Antelope Valley came out of the pile with the ball, but I believe they're a little upset, possibly some early whistles before Landless is down, but forward progress stops. The whistle's got to go.
Now we see a 3rd and long here. They're going to line up in the spread formation. Again, got to play it safe. You're still in the red zone, but looking for a touchdown here from McLeod Croughton.
All of a huge 3rd down. And Moorpark well in range for Burke. As you mentioned, I believe it was on Burke's missed attempt last time. That kick looked good from 50, and it was a great kick from Burke, but unfortunate for them. He hit the smallest object in football, the goalpost. Here's Croton, pump fake, steps up, in trouble, spinning around, and Hogo will actually pick up a yard, so no sack, but 4th down. And I'd imagine here comes Burke for the field goal attempt.
You will be correct, yes. Croton trying to scramble, improvise, pick up some yards, maybe on his feet. He gets wrapped up, takes care of the ball though. Kicking unit goes out and they will attempt a field goal to go up 7 points here.
It'll be, I believe, a 30 or 20. It'll be a 28-yarder for Burke. Kick on the way. And no good. He missed it wide right. So Daniel Burke 1 for 3, but a flag is down. This
Looks
could
like a
be
rough
big.
in the kicker here.
And despite the missed field goal, it put Moorpark in a field goal position based off the fake punt that was unsuccessful. And that kind of shows your defense just forced a 3 and out. Outside of that, but it's going to be replay 4th down, and they'll keep the kicking unit on the field. This will make it a 23-yarder for Burke, almost a chip shot from here, about an extra point. But it gives free points just about, as you said. You were very correct with that statement, almost right on the head, sort of predicting that it's free points for the Raiders.
And good call here from Mike Stewart. You get the penalty, but it's going to replay the 4th down. You don't get quite close enough to get the first. Might as well just leave the kicking team out there, get your points. And now it's a 13-6 lead here for the Moorpark Raiders late in the 2nd quarter.
They're up a nice touchdown. That's exactly the position they want to be. Burke now 2 for 3 thanks to the penalty. Knocked it through the 2nd time. And under 6 minutes to go in the half, the Raiders do get the ball coming out. So Antelope Valley's in a tough situation. You don't have your quarterback unless Warren comes back this drive. I'd assume he's out for the half, let's just say. And you're in a situation where Moorpark's up a touchdown. Your defense is playing very well outside of 1 play to Croton and 1 play to Stout that allowed Moorpark to get deep in your own territory. You're playing well and good, sound football. It's just small mistakes on key downs that have really cost Antelope Valley their lead.
Right, and they're going to have to create a way to make a long drive here, get some points, and get some more momentum going into the 2nd half and halftime.
Let's kick a line drive fielded at the 14. And a lane up the middle, tries to bounce it to the right. A flag is down. That's Iverson Daniels on the return, but most likely this one's going to come back a couple.
And we
and
see
another
some more
late
penalties. This could be very costly for the Marauders, setting them back in their own territory.
And we saw what happened last time that they were back deep. I mean, it didn't go well for them at all.
Referees are discussing multiple penalties out on the field.
Wouldn't be surprised if we see another personal foul assessed to, I mean, I'm not sure which team, but a flag that late can only mean one thing.
Yep, it seemed like we saw some chippiness, or at least some talking back and forth after the play.
So 2 penalties, 1 on each. The holding will back them up 10. but Pierce with an unnecessary roughness, a late hit, will put him forward 15. So at the end of it, they'll end up just gaining 5 on the kick. So not too shabby for Antelope Valley. You're up at the 33-yard line.
Get a little extra yards there. It's about where they returned it anyway.
Here's the throw to the outside, low and incomplete. That was Crawford's first pass attempt.
And we mentioned it before, first string quarterback going down, Darius Warren. This drive right here, you want to put confidence in your second string guy, Jalen Crawford. Get him some attempts early, some catches, maybe some yards here we want to drive.
And Bankhead gets the handoff. He'll get about 2, but not much once again up the middle. So third down. And would you, after failing a fake punt, would you just keep your offense out next time if you're going to go for it?
I think the way the game has been going right now, if you're going to go for it on fourth, you're going to want to put your best guys out on the field. You're going to want your offense out there instead of maybe a punt scheme, especially now here in long distance.
And Crawford over the middle. He connects to Lloyd, who turns back to the outside. Lloyd, look at the speed. Chased down by Pierce inside the 20. And a huge connection from Crawford to Lloyd.
Huge heads-up play right there. That's going to put some confidence in your guy, Jalen Crawford. And Lloyd, huge heads-up play. He's able to catch the ball, turns around, uses his speed to get away from the defenders until he's finally pushed out of bounds by Daniel Pierce.
And they go a keeper to Crawford up the middle. He'll break a tackle and spin down for a pickup of 6. And Antelope Valley's got some momentum, and they're trying to ride with it.
Here we see Antelope Valley in the hurry up. They're fighting back here.
This to Bankhead, and he's going to bounce the other way, shaking to the defender. He's just losing yards at this point, and he'll go back all the way to the 18. So it'll be third down and 10 after Bankhead loses 6.
What looked like some improvising and some heads-up play ends up being a loss of downs here, or a loss of yards here. Eventually, you got to go north and south, right?
I mean, at some point, he's been doing it almost all game. He knows that he's a great athlete. He's a key part of this team, and he can make those plays, but tonight, it's not in the cards so far. And Crawford firing over the middle and dropped, and a late hit. A very, very late hit and very unnecessary. That's going to cost the Raiders. Michael Garibay pushed him about 10 steps too late.
And it goes with the name of the penalty there. Very unnecessary. Ball's dropped. Defenseless. He just runs right into him. It's not a very hard hit, but it's unnecessary, and it's after the play, so that's going to bring up a first down and some costly yards here.
Well, it was going to be fourth down, and either they'd go for it, or if they're in field goal range, they'd kick it, but instead, automatic first down correction. The penalty was on Braden Beck, the freshman defensive back out of Randall High School. But, not entirely sure what he was looking at there. It's very clear ball was dropped, receiver starts walking away, and you're still flying down at 100 miles an hour and shove them late. It's just not necessary. In a game like this where there's already been 4 personal fouls on the Raiders, you got to know, just got to ease up on the pedal a little bit.
Of course. Now we'll see a 1st and 10 here. 1st and goal, actually, from the 10-yard line. Jalen Crawford looking more and more comfortable as this drive goes on, along with Amir Bankhead. And this right here, already a lot of momentum for the Moorpark Raiders. This would be a massive stop here if they were to stop the Marauders here for no points or even just a field goal.
And in motion, they'll go jet touch pass. It's Brown trying to cut back inside, and he lost the football. The ball is loose. Tajin Brown, the first time he touched the football, and he drops it on the ground.
The Marauders, they try and hit Tajin Brown right there on the jet sweep, but there's about 3 Moorpark Raiders on him. As soon as he gets the ball, He tries to break away, and he almost fumbles it, but he's able to drop down on the ball. But that's going to lose them a couple of yards here, bringing up a 2nd and 12 from the goal.
Crawford in the gun. He will look to his left, and he's going to take off. Crawford using his legs, and he will be brought down inside the 10 at the 9. So Crawford obviously not afraid to take off, something we did not see Warren do. So it adds a new dynamic, and as you mentioned, maybe Raiders didn't game plan for that.
Yeah, we haven't seen too much film from Chalen Crawford this season, but so far, a wild card, a little bit of running, a little bit of passing. He looks comfortable out there.
He definitely does. He's got a chance to tie this game. And a timeout Moorpark with 2:32 to go in the half. A very quick second quarter compared to the first, which was filled with back and forth plays. But 2:32 to go in the half. The Raiders still lead 13-6, and it's 3rd and goal from the 9. I mean, what would you look for in this situation? What kind of play call or concept are you dialing up on the Antelope Valley end?
Right, well, the Moorpark Raiders, they're expecting run, right? Obviously, your game plan coming into this game is to feed Amir Bankhead, but you got a new quarterback in there. He's looking more and more comfortable. They've been able to hit those quick passing routes. Expect some slants, some hitches, maybe some drag routes across the middle there, a little bit of obstruction, some pick plays. But so far, look to see either Chalen Crawford run the ball himself into the end zone or throw the ball towards the end zone.
We'll see. They'll go doubles. Crawford in the gun. Bankhead the back, something we've seen in almost every play this drive. 3rd and goal. Here's the snap. Crawford firing into the flats for Bankhead. And a great open field tackle. C.J. Jackson.
C.J. Jackson we saw come off the field after an interception with an injury. Here we see him making more plays, open field tackling. Great play there. Able to bring up a 4th down, and now we'll see the kicking unit come out for the Marauders.
And 2:20 to go. 4th and goal. And they'll look to make it a 4-point game. Right now, the largest lead is 7. That is currently being held by the Raiders and has been since the Burke field goal on their last drive.
And now we see a promising drive end in a field goal attempt, leaving 2 minutes on the board. Maybe time for a little reaction from the Moorpark Raiders here on offense.
Well, they're definitely going to be gearing up the 2-minute drill, and we've seen Croton the whole first half, and the way he's played, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him to start the second. But the field goal attempt, 28 yards, snap, hold, kick is blocked! Recovered by Eli at the 10. It was Hill off the end with a block and another flag after the play and another. And we'll see what this is, but it looks like Daniel Pierce could be in some trouble.
Looks like Daniel Pierce arguing with the refs here, possibly about a penalty after the play.
And this would be his 2nd personal foul penalty that would be called. He could be ejected from the game here depending on what the referees decide. Right. And that would be a crushing blow to the Raiders secondary. They do have Khalil Collins as his backup, who has 3 interceptions on the year. Correction, 2 interceptions.
Right, and his helmet's off. So they don't mention. Yeah,
he's still in the game, which is huge for the Raiders. But walk us through the rest of that.
So we see him. He's arguing after the play, just possibly for his team. You know, he's a little frustrated, but not arguing for his own sake in the ball game here. So that's a good sight.
Well, and especially with the face mask.
Right, and once again we see a great special teams play here to stop the Marauders from getting some points. And now a drive here. McLeod Croton hits the field. 2 minutes left. Plenty of time. They're in the spread formation.
Well, they got 1 timeout to hold on to. Here's a stretch to the right. Landless cuts it up. And he'll get back to the line to gain. Not much going there. I'll let it run to 2 minutes. No 2-minute warning here in college, so the clock will continue to go as Eli checks out.
Looks like Justin Ogle hitting the field for the first time this game.
Well, Ogle, one of these starting receivers last season for the Raiders. Caught a handful of touchdowns. Here's Croton under pressure, and he's going to go down for a sack. That'll bring up 3rd down and 15 to go. With 1:34 and a timeout called by Antelope Valley to stop the clock.
So now we see the Marauders playing aggressive. They get a sack right there to bring up a 3rd and long, call a timeout. You want to save as much time as possible in hopes of getting a stop here on the next play and a possible forced punt. Moorpark Raiders will hit the sideline to discuss their next play call. Got to be looking for a passing play right here. Yet to hit the, yet to connect with Arcelis Johnson. We got a couple catches for Alexander Jones. He's back out there on the field.
But a big 3rd down. I mean, as you said multiple times, obvious passageway. I mean, it's pretty much what they should do, I would say. I mean, and every time you've been correct with the play call. Got a little inside scoop there, Ian. You're tapping into the comms, listening into the plays, but
Yeah.
every time it's been a pass, and it hasn't been very successful. The only time was Darrell Lloyd recently on the last drive for Antelope Valley. Other than that, 3rd downs have been a rough patch.
Of course, both teams coming into this game with a less than 40% completion on 3rd down here. So now we say a 3rd and long from the Raiders.
There's a motion to the left for Landless. Croton will roll to the right, dump it off for Davis, and he'll just go out of bounds at the 12. Back to the line to gain, and out comes Johnson to punt.
So interesting play there. They do the short pass because they want to get the ball out. They don't want an incompletion. They don't want to stop the clock, but Cameron Davis runs out of bounds and stops the clock either way. Now leaving a 1:30 here for the Marauders. Moorpark back in their own end zone here to punt. This could put them in pretty dangerous territory for a score here.
Well, Robinson's lined up at the 45 going in. Johnson gets it away barely, and this one will wobble to the 50. And finds a seam and then will fall down inside the 45, make it the 44. And as you said, dangerous situation now for the Raiders. 1:18 to go in Antelope Valley with 2 timeouts, great field position. There's a great chance here for them to put some points on the board, and they got to take advantage with the blocked kick last drive. They need this one.
They do need this one. They put some confidence in Jalen Crawford early on that last drive. He had a couple passes completed. Had some solid runs there. It didn't get some points, but he will hit the field once again with number 25, Jackson Marshall, in the backfield. A different back opposed from the last drive in Amir Bankhead.
And out of the shotgun, Crawford steps up on the screen, complete. A stiff arm and out of bounds at the 45. And that's the big thing right there. Out of bounds, Jackson Marshall on the reception. One of the outside players from Frisco, Texas, but played for a California school, Centennial High School.
Right, Luke, and you mentioned him getting out of bounds. Obviously, yardage is most important, first and foremost, but then you got to think, get out of bounds as quick as possible. He's able to get the stiff arm out, run out of bounds, stop the clock, continue the drive.
Here's Crawford stepping up, in trouble. He makes a move inside, and we'll get to the 43, back to the line to gain, so a 3rd down and long. And Moorpark's content with making this 13-6 going into the half. They're not concerned about getting the ball back before half.
Right, and oddly enough, we see the clock is running. Antelope Valley has all 3 of their timeouts. So they don't want to stop the clock here. Now they call a timeout.
That's a very late timeout, and that took them a while. I'm wondering why you would wait for about 20 seconds. As you said, oddly enough, it was still running. About 20 seconds tick down off the clock before Antelope Valley decided to call a timeout.
Right, and regardless of what your game plan, you might not have it figured out quite yet for the drive, but you got all three. Might as well burn one, keep as much time as possible. That takes away 25 seconds off the clock.
And that's 2, possibly even 3 plays where you don't have to call a timeout in between with the way their offense hurries to the line. That's 2 or 3 plays that you can get off in those 25 seconds that's just now lost.
Right. A little inefficient here from the Marauder offense, but set to hit the field once again. They got the ball on the 43-yard line here. It's a 3rd and 10. 38 seconds left on the clock. It is 13-6, your Moorpark Raiders.
And a big 3rd down and 10. And a blitz off the right side. He's going to step up. Crawford to the right, fires downfield, and swatted out of bounds. Incomplete.
Crawford able to slip the blitz coverage right there. They're on him. Takes it out of the pocket, throws it deep downfield at the sidelines. Smart ball right there. Almost intercepted, but it tips off his hands. And the clock stops. Now bringing up a 4th and 10 here. What looks like the punt unit coming out for the Antelope Valley Marauders.
Well, Pierce, a dangerous returner, but 30 seconds. I'd assume if Pierce doesn't get great field position or return this one, we're going to see kneel downs, and he fair catches it, and it'll let it bounce, so he's able to run and hurdles over a defender, but out of bounds. They're going to put him back at the 5-yard line, so 27.8 to go. And most likely, Croton will just kneel it down and take us into that half. It's 27.8, as we said, and 13-6 in favor of the Raiders. A more low-scoring game.
Low scoring, but it's been a battle so far. Defenses have been playing well, both sides, for the Marauders and the Moorpark Raiders. We've seen some special teams plays early, some defensive play so far, like we expected. Here we will see the kneeling formation from the Moorpark Raiders. They will send it into the half.
That'll take us, as you said, to halftime. Both teams are still on the field, I'd assume, just to let the clock run down. And now they'll exit the field. That'll end the first half. Score 13 Moorpark. Antelope Valley 6. And Ian, before we head to the halftime, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Obviously, we've seen great defense from both sides of the ball. Continuing to make plays. We got an interception from the Moorpark Raiders and C.J. Jackson. And, you know, look to see some different schemes here from the Marauders, coming out with a different QB, possibly a return from Darius Warren, most likely not. And for the Raiders, expect Croton to stay out on the field. He's leading this team, and they're comfortable with him in the game so far. And they've been playing well, running it, passing it, and continue to see a battle out here on defense on both sides of the ball.
We're definitely in for a good one. 2 5-4 teams fighting for a bowl game. And we will all join you in the second half, so stay tuned, just about 20 minutes away. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the second half between the Moorpark Raiders and Antelope Valley Marauders. We are set for kickoff to start the third quarter. The Raiders, who won the toss and deferred to the second half, ready to go on offense, led by presumably McLeod Croton. He started the entire first half for Moorpark. Kick to Christian Rivas Keener is muffed at the 5. Keener with some blocks to the right side. He'll dive forward to the 25. Makes a little something out of nothing.
Quick reaction from Keener. He bobbles the ball a little bit, but he's able to pick it up, bring it past the 25-yard line. Solid field position here for the Moorpark Raiders. And once again, we see McLeod Croton set to hit the field with Gabe Landless in the backfield along with Ty Eli in a tight end spot right there.
A lot of the times we've seen it'll be a Landless run or Eli to the flats. Here's Croton, firing complete, and Croton connects to the 30 to Alexander Jones.
And that will be Alexander Jones' third catch of the game. He's up over 20 yards now on the evening here.
There's been a lot of the, just get solid yards. He's like a 10, 5-yard kind of route sort of guy tonight. Now under pressure, Batarse incomplete. But he probably saved an interception with the effort he made, and a flag's going to come out late. And we knew Moorpark had some issues, but now Antelope Valley possibly in trouble.
There we see a big hit from number 4, Jamie Hawkins. And he gets in the face while he's on the ground, and that's going to be a penalty right there for some taunting.
A 15-yard penalty up to the 46. And as you said, a little bit too much after the play.
We see Cameron Davis hit the field here with Landless in the backfield. Split backs here. And out on the island, we see Alexander Jones up at the top of the field.
Well, now Davis will go to the right side of the formation. I'll go back left. Croton handoff to Landless, who will find a seam, and Landless is across midfield for a first down pickup of 10.
Landless able to get through the first level, through the second level with some guys on his back, but he's able to get to the sticks to bring up a first down and into Marauder territory here. Running the hurry-up offense once again. No huddle. They flip the formation.
Well, Davis will go back. They go same play now to Landless. And not as successful, but it'll pick up 4. It'll bring up second down and 6 for the Raiders.
And we see Christian Rivas Keener hit the field for for Cameron Davis. A passing set here in the spread formation.
Well, this could be their first pass play of the drive outside of the one to Alexander Jones, but since then it's been all on the ground. Here's Croton firing on the run and incomplete. A little too high for the 6'4" River Stout, a little out of reach towards the sidelines. Third down.
Like you said, Luke, could be a possible pass. It was a pass. Out off to the outside there, trying to get the ball to River Stout. Big frame receiver out there. A little bit out of reach. That'll bring up a 3rd and 6 here for the Moorpark Raiders. Once again in the spread formation.
Croton under pressure. He's rolling to his right, firing downfield, and complete. Keeping the toes in bounds is River Stout. He's about a yard short of the first, so decision time for head coach Mike Stewart.
Looks like he's going to leave the offense out on the field and put the power back set in with Cameron Davis and Ty Eli.
There are 2 tight ends, but no Rasmussen for this play.
Correct. They will get in the bunch set here.
4th and inches to go. Croton and a whistle, timeout, Moorpark. So the Raiders call a timeout on 4th and inches That could be costly in a close game like this. You never want to spend a timeout so early into the second half, but they're forced to charge one here.
Right, and it looked like the Raiders were trying to put in a replacement for Alexander Jones. He was not able to get off the field quite in time, so they called a timeout. A little bit of a miscue right there for the offense, but now they'll be able to discuss for this 4th and 1 play. Looks like Rasmussen is entering the huddle here.
Well, that may have been what it was as well, is they want Rasmussen in. I mean, we knew that that's his offensive, that's his package. He is the goal line tight set. You need a couple yards, you put him on the field because he's basically a triple option quarterback. He can toss it, he can take it himself, hand it off, throw it deep. He's got all the tools for a situation like this. And he's got a 6'6" Arcelis Johnson that'll be flanked out wide to his left. Rasmussen to the line, he'll back out into the shotgun set. And they keep it, it'll just be a quarterback power. Rasmussen trying to navigate, and he is not going to get there. A turnover on downs to start the half.
Like we said, they put
Rasmussen, flag late.
They put Rasmussen out on the field there for the run option there. And he backs up to take the shotgun snap and run it himself, but he stopped right at the line of scrimmage. We'll see what this penalty is about.
We'll see what the penalty is, but it could be, I mean, I would imagine it's on Antelope Valley. I didn't see a Raider in the area, but possibly the offense coming onto the field too early, knowing Rasmussen wasn't going to get there and they're just trying to huddle up.
Could be a possible sideline warning here.
And the flag's waved off. First down, Antelope Valley at the 36-yard line, so their offense gets a chance. Only down 7, so their defense does the job as they have most of the night. They've done a great job on 4th downs especially.
Now we see Jalen Crawford hit the field once again, assuming Darius Warren is out for the game. And back in the backfield with Crawford, we see number 2, Amir Bankhead, their leading rusher on the season.
Here's the give. And keeper from Crawford, he'll pick up 3, so 2nd and 7 to come.
They run the play action run here. Misdirection, fake handoff to Bankhead. Crawford takes it himself out on the side. He picks up a few yards to bring up a 2nd and 6 here in their own territory.
And now they'll give to Bankhead on the run, and he lost the football. The ball is out, and a scrum at the 37. Moorpark says they have it, and they do. The Raiders recover. Bankhead fumbles on the handoff, and the Raiders have it, and who else coming up with it but Christian Kohulan.
Christian Kohulan showed up in all of the recent games so far this season. He's really stepped up as a defensive leader, and he takes the ball. It looked like Amir Bankhead ran into his own player, offensive lineman, and dropped the ball behind him, giving a easy chance for Christian Kohulan to pick it up. And now the Raider offense will hit the field on the 38-yard line in Marauder territory.
Well, this is huge. They get the ball pretty much just shy of where they had it last, about 5 yards difference. But either way, Moorpark with a second chance right off the bat. And there comes the defensive turnovers. I mean, we've seen turnover on downs, but in terms of pure turnovers, Moorpark leads 2-0. It's helped them get this 13-6 lead. We have 11:45 to go in the third quarter.
And you mentioned in pregame the elevated performance from the Moorpark defense at home. They have 18 turnovers at home as opposed to 6 on the road. And so far we've seen here again tonight a defensive performance.
They're going to want to watch for a Batarse possible motion, and look how far away he's backed off on that bunch. Or even maybe a quick screen to him in the position that he's in. And look at the safety playing 15 off as now Batarse steps up And it will be a quick screen, but Tarse incomplete. Alexander Jones got blown off the line of scrimmage, and that was a busted play. A great job for Gannon Guinness.
Right, an interesting play. They have the two wide receivers split with Batarse in the middle, and the defender on the play, Gannon Guinness, decides to line up right in between them, expecting a screen pass, and he's almost able to intercept that ball, but it drops to the ground, bringing up a 2nd and 10 here for the Moorpark Raiders.
We got Powell and Davis in the backfield, a split back set on either side of Croton. Powell to the right. They'll go pump fake on the quick screen, and Croton will take off. And the ball is out again, and Antelope Valley says they have it. Could this be the first turnover from the Raiders? But Croton comes out of the pile, and the offense will stay on the field. It'll be 3rd down and 8 to go. And very inefficient so far for Moorpark in the first 2 drives we've seen them coming out of the locker room.
Correct. Not really getting anything going on the ground game so far. They've had 2 different running backs. They have a power back set coming in. Here we see Royce Powell out there trying to get a possible free play once again. Croton.
I got 2 already in the first half. You got to snap the ball. Gets it off with 1. Fires to Arcelis Johnson, complete and fighting across the 30, but well short of a first down. It'll be 4th down and 3.
4th down and 3. Head coach Mike Stewart electing to leave the offense on the field here.
Well, Moorpark's 0 for 3 on 4th downs tonight.
Fourth and 4. Not a obvious passing or running situation. It's very short. I would expect maybe a screen pass, possibly a short passing concept.
We'll see. They go play action. Croton escapes the pocket. He's just going to take it himself. Spinning inside and reaching across. And he's got a first down inside the 25. What an effort from number 15 to pick up the first.
Great heads-up play there from Croton. He's really feeling himself tonight. He rolls out in the pocket. Nobody's open. The defensive end on pursuit actually trips and leaves him just enough yardage to try and get the first down, and he reaches out, picks up the first, and keeps this drive going.
An injury timeout for Antelope Valley. One of their defenders is down at the 17. As you said, Croton, he is definitely putting his best foot forward here tonight, and he's showing all aspects of his game, running and passing. And there's 10:05 to go in the 3rd, and the Raiders driving and looking. I mean, it would be key for them to take advantage of the turnover. The 1 interception from C.J. Jackson ended up in no points, missed field goal, and just go up multiple scores in a game where you feel like, as Moorpark, you should feel like you have an advantage. You know, the backup quarterback is in, your defense is playing lights out, but you've also given up a couple shot plays like we saw to Lloyd, which resulted in a blocked field goal for the Raiders. But you don't want to give up any sort of possible one play that could result in you losing this game or being down on the scoreboard in any way.
Correct, Luke. And so far, Croton coming in, easily his best game so far on the season. Most games we see him come in, it's late in the game. They're either up by a lot or they're down by a lot. And here we see he started the game playing tremendously, very efficient. He's holding onto the ball, not turning it over. He's playing safe, and the team is really rallying behind his back here. And along with great defense and special teams play, that's really what's keeping them in this game right now. They're really playing as a team, and so far on this drive, continuing to get first, picking up the pace here and driving towards the end zone. Now we see them in the trips left formation here. Arcelis Johnson.
Well, Davis in motion will kick out the end, and Powell will go for only a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 10. And the injured player on the field for Antelope Valley was William Alford, linebacker out of Acton, California, and Vasquez High School. He walked off the field alongside some coaches. And we'll hope that he is all right. They've already lost their starting quarterback. You don't want to lose a starting linebacker on top of that. 9:30 to go in the 3rd. Croton takes the snap, play action, firing, and batted down at the line of scrimmage. Caden Hinton knocks it down for an incompletion.
We've seen that play before. Cameron Davis lining up in the backfield with the H-back position, slipping out into the flats there, but the linebacker, Caden Hinton, is able to read that play, and he jumps up and knocks the ball down for a forced incompletion. And that's going to bring up a 3rd and 9 for the Moorpark Raiders.
And a big 3rd down and 9 at that. They're about fringe field goal range for Burke. This would probably be the longest they would attempt with him. Here's a quick throw to Powell in the flats, and he's across the 20, short of the first. But it gives them a decision, and they will send Burke out for the field goal. And the 10-point lead would make it 16-6.
And Luke, like you said before the play, fringe field goal range for Burke here. There they pick up the extra yards in order to feel comfortable enough to send him out there. Already a missed field goal today, but it looked good. The kick looked good. It was just a little bit off. We'll see how he attempts this one.
Burke, and it's blocked. Antelope Valley comes away with a blocked field goal of their own. And on the return, across the 20, cutting back inside a flag and brought down at the 30. So the 37-yard field goal attempt blocked, and 2 for 4 for Burke on the night, but a flag is down at around the 16.
Flag looked like it happened during the return. Could be a possible holding or a block in the back. This ball will be turned over on downs and will be put back in the Marauders' hands. Still 13-6 here, middle of the 3rd quarter.
So half the distance to the goal. A penalty on Antelope Valley, blocking the back. That'll bring them into their own territory, inside the 10 at the 9. So that's a costly penalty. Instead of being out at the 30, ends up netting a loss of 20. But the defense comes up big. A blocked field goal keeps them only down 7. And that's where they want to be in this situation, getting the ball back. You do not want to be down multiple scores. You need to keep this a one-possession game as long as you can if you're Antelope Valley. And a false start.
We see some early movement here from the Marauder linemen. And that's going to push them even farther back up against their own end zone.
And they get number 55, Lewis Wilson, the 5th.
See a 1st and 15 here for the Marauders.
Here's a screen pass, and that one's going to go for gain of 0. Nowhere to go there. A little bit of a busted play. Great job for the Raiders in rallying to it. And an injured player for Antelope Valley. We'll see if he's all right. Seems to be back on his feet. And he'll walk over to the sideline, so that's a good sight to see. Seems to be all right. Not sure on a number for who that is.
Now we see a 2nd and 14 here for the Antelope Valley Marauders. In the spread formation, expect a pass here. They do have Amir Bankhead in the backfield along with Chalon Crawford.
Crawford, low snap, handles it off to Bankhead, and Bankhead bursting through, similar to what we saw in the first half where they were backed up against their own end zone. But he's just shy of a 1st down. I'll mark him at the 17. That'll be 3rd down and 2 to go. And a big 3rd down for this Antelope Valley offense, trying to take advantage of a blocked field goal. Here's the handoff. Bankhead, he gets the edge, slips through tackles, and will pick up a 1st down.
We see some extracurricular activity there from Solihill and number 0, Daryl Lloyd. It's been a battle all game between them.
Now they've shouted each other the whole way. Solihill has followed him all over tonight.
They will send Darrell Lloyd off the field. Now, again in the trips formation, off to the right.
There's the snap, handoff to Bankhead, up the middle, nowhere to go. Stuffed for a loss of about half a yard.
Tackled by Robert Romero.
And Christian Cohalone on the tackle.
23-yard line, pickup of 1, second and 9.
Big plays here from the Moorpark Raider defensive line, adding some pressure.
Now we're under
Wrapping
7
up.
minutes to go in the third quarter, and we have not seen any points. I mean, it wasn't a high-scoring first half, but we saw a lot of chances. This drag play caught and dragged down Christian Cohalone. Another play to Tajin Brown.
Tackled by
Tajin Brown picks up his second catch of the game. Quick drag route right across the middle of the field, right in between the linebackers. Picks up a few yards and brings up a 3rd and 5 here on the 28-yard line for the Marauders.
Here's Brown in motion. They fake to him. Crawford pump fake, double move to Lloyd, and Solid Hill shadowed him perfectly. Great coverage by Hill, and that's going to bring up a 4th down and long to go. And there's an official with no hat. Sometimes that means a flag was called and he ran out of one, so seemingly it just fell off. He goes, picks it back up. But a punt coming up for Antelope Valley, so they don't even get more than 20 yards on a drive where they could have really used some momentum. They just need 1 or 2 plays to really break them through to get back into this game. And the punt away clean, and a good one at that. This one back to the 25, a great spiraling punt. Pierce nowhere to go. He's bottled up at the 27.
And Antelope Valley doing a good job on that punt. High punt in the air. Pierce is able to return it, but they get their defenders down there quick, and they're able to swarm him up and stop him for nearly no gain. The Moorpark Raiders will get the ball on their 30-yard line. Expecting McLeod Croton to hit the field once again.
And it will be Croton in the gun. We've seen this single back tight end formation the majority of the night from Moorpark. Here's Batarse in motion. They hand it off to Landless, a misdirection. Landless breaks free, and he fumbles it late, but they're going to rule him down at the 44.
And that's another big play that the Moorpark Raiders needed. They've had a couple solid run plays. That one right there, Gabe Landless breaking through the middle right there, getting through the second level, breaking some tackles. He fumbles the ball, but they mark him down anyway. That's going to be a big gain heading into the Marauder territory.
That's the best run of the night for Landless. Here's play action. Croton under pressure. He escapes, stays on his feet, and fires it out of bounds. He had Davis open at the 45, and a late flag comes in, 2 of them, in fact.
Let's see what these penalties are
A
about.
Marauder will hop off the field on one leg. It's number 44, R.B. Wilson, the 5th.
Great heads-up play from Croton there. Nearly sacked. He's able to get back on his feet, throw the ball out of bounds, keep the ball safe, stops the clock, and keeps the drive going.
So number 78, ineligible man downfield, will penalty against the Raiders. It'll be declined. That was Demella Knox from Thousand Oaks High School. So they'll bring up 2nd down and 10 to go on the 44. Croton out of the gun, play action to Landless. He's going to look deep. He's got Arcelis Johnson. Little bit of a jersey tug and no flag, and the crowd displeased with that, but overshot nonetheless.
There we see another big play downfield, looking for Arcelis Johnson. Little bit of an overthrow, but defense, like you said, tugs on his jersey. Fair play, a little bit of hand game. They're battling back and forth. That's going to bring up a 3rd and 10 here for the Moorpark Raiders.
Well, and in an important game like this, you want to let, as an official, you want to let them battle that out a little bit, and they're not going to let Moorpark get a free play here. They're going to call a false start on the Raiders, and that's going to back them up 5, 3rd and 15.
So now if it was an obvious pass situation before, now it definitely is, bringing up a 3rd and 15.
That's a tough situation for Moorpark. 5:17 to go in the 3rd quarter. Crow in, they'll go screen, Landless gets 1 block inside at the 40 to the 44. We'll get back to the original line to gain. And no hesitation, Tony Johnson and the punt unit will come onto the field with 5 minutes to go in the 3rd.
Right, and I think that's a correct call. You're on your own side of the 50. It's a 4th and 10. There's really no other call other than send the punt unit out there, kick the ball off, and get your defense ready to play.
And Johnson gets this one away, and it was tipped at the line. It touches the defender of Antelope Valley and brought down at the 40. The block will be credited to Matthew Flores. Got 1 hand on it.
And that's Reese Robinson back to return. Heads up play as it bounces off a Antelope Valley defender. He returns it, gets the ball off to the 42-yard line.
Well, now a situation where Antelope Valley, you got to think this is almost a must. You need to take advantage of this. You got a block punt after a blocked field goal and great field position now. They go touch pass to Robinson, trick play, wide open downfield, complete inside the 40, breaks a tackle to the 30, and Robinson completes the pass to Iverson Daniels way downfield.
Huge trick play, looks like it's going to be another jet sweep, and they're unloaded deep. Daryl Lloyd is able to get the ball out there. Our first trick play since the fake punt.
Now another jet sweep, or keeper correction for Crawford, will pick up 4, and Antelope Valley, their offense, they're trying to take advantage and move fast. I mean, they get right on the ball after that, trying to catch Moorpark off guard, little shaken up after giving up a 35-yard pass.
Right, they're trying to catch them on their heels, catch them off guard, as they did in that play. Once again, trying to hurry it up.
Here's Crawford, pump fakes, fires, end zone. Lloyd on the double move, complete. Touchdown, Antelope Valley. It only took 3 plays.
And they will call a penalty after the play here on Daryl Lloyd for celebrating.
And another flag back at the 20.
So here we see Antelope Valley, quick response, 3 plays, 2 deep ball plays right there, 2 catches, a touchdown, and now we see 13-12. The kicking unit's going to be on the field here. They should be pushed back because of the penalties.
Well, either that or Moorpark might get the option to assess it on the kickoff, which could set them up in great field position to respond. And Moorpark has been great this year at responding to other teams scoring. They've done a great job at firing back.
And they will elect to use the penalty yards on the kickoff.
But Lloyd, he ran a great double move on sort of a stop and then corner, and he got Solid Hill beat on that one, dead to rights. And now to tie the game at 13 all.
The touchdown is good, but they will be electing to use the penalty yards on the kickoff.
So that should be a total of about 30 yards on the kickoff, and that could set up Moorpark in amazing field position.
They're going to be back up against their own 15-yard line kicking this ball off.
That's almost like a safety sort of kickoff punt. Extra point. up and good. We have a tie game with 3:24 in the third. A dogfight in Moorpark, 13 all.
So like we said, Jalen Crawford, he comes in for Darius Warren. They don't have a lot of film on him, but so far he's been very comfortable, very efficient, and they're rallying behind him now, and they respond once again to a blocked field goal and then a blocked punt. And now we see a tie ball game late in this third quarter. The penalty yards assessed from the touchdown scoring play puts them on their own 10-yard line.
Well, even worse than the 15, the own 10. I mean, Moorpark, you got to be gunning for about midfield here at kickoff range. You know you have dangerous returners. I mean, all Pierce or Revis Keener are going to need is 15 to get you in plus territory.
I wonder if they decide to kick it as far and as high as they can, or maybe elect to use a squib kick to get some guys down there a little bit quicker than normal.
And Moorpark had a huge gap in the middle of their return team as they move a couple guys up, possibly anticipating the squib. This will be high and deep. Pierce at the 35. He'll go to the right, stiff arm, spin inside, and stay on his feet to about the 48, so not terrible positioning from Antelope Valley. They make the most of it, and Moorpark will have the ball just outside of midfield.
Moorpark starts their drive on the 48-yard line. This is a must respond here for the Moorpark Raiders, as they haven't scored since the first half, allowing a touchdown on that last drive. Now we see McLeod Croton out on the field, ready to lead his team.
Croton hands it off to Landless, up the middle. And Landless will push forward for about 4. So 2nd and 6, under 3 minutes to go now.
Once again, staying disciplined with their first down runs. Hands it off to Landless, inside run there. Picks up a few yards. That's going to be a 2nd and 6 now.
Croton rolls to his left, fires on the run, tip pass, juggled and incomplete for Alexander Jones. He's blasted, he's unable to haul it in clean. He'll bring up a 3rd down and long.
Right, and it's a good ball from Croton. It's tipped by the defender right before it reaches the hands of Alexander Jones, causing him to bobble it. And the DB is able to make a great play there and knock the ball out of his hands, bringing up a 3rd and 6 actually.
The clock stop at 2:44 in the third. In plus territory. On a defender jumped, free play, 3rd time tonight for Jones, little high and incomplete. Alexander Jones was open on a slant, a deep slant at that, possibly even a post, but just not able to haul it in. We'll replay 3rd down, the 5-yard penalty, and very jumpy up front. Antelope Valley's got to contain that, especially heading into the 4th. That could cost you a game.
Once again, we see McLeod Croton out here looking like Aaron Rodgers. He has around 4 or 5 free plays here, and the hard count is really working for this Moorpark offense.
Croton out of the gun. Hands it off to Landless to the right side, gets a block. Landless lowers the shoulder, easy 1st down. Yardage for Landless to the 31. He was untouched for about the first 12 yards of that one.
Right, staying disciplined. They like those draw plays with Landless, those inside runs. There we see him get right through that 1st level into the 2nd level untouched. He gets an easy 1st down.
Here's Landless again up the middle. He'll tumble forward for 5, so 2nd down and 5 to go. And the run game for Moorpark is starting to get going.
They keep on pounding the rock. Here we see Cameron Davis move on into the game here. He will be in the backfield for the split back set. Expecting a run here.
And it will be a run to Landless. No keeper from Croton, and Landless will only get 1. So a 3rd down and medium once again for the Raiders. And Royce Powell is going to check into the game for Landless. Well, Powell does have a 3rd down catch and fall forward, which led to a 4th down and inches stop for Antelope Valley. So I'd say possibly a pass coming in here with Powell in the backfield, more of their receiving back. Croton takes the snap, looks for Davis in the flats. Underthrown, pressure was there. Number 96, Ryan Vollmer on the play. It'll be 4th and 5.
Right, and if it wasn't for the defender bringing the pressure early right there, could be an easy pitch and catch to Cameron Davis. He slips out in the flats by himself, uncovered. This is going to bring up a 4th and 5. They leave the offense on the field.
A little jumpy up front. Antelope Valley didn't get caught, but they're very close. I mean, it's multiple times where they've been close, but they've only gotten caught, as you mentioned, 4 times. But that's still a high number. And they get him again. Do they? No flag was thrown. They thought it was a free play. Alex Jones, what a grab. Are they going to rule it a catch? They will. Unbelievable at the 2. Alex Jones goes up top, and Croton delivers a perfect pass.
Amazing catch by Alexander Jones. It's college. You got to get 1 foot in. Absolutely full extension. Grabs it over the defender, gets 1 foot in. And earlier in this game, not looking like himself, only a couple catches. There he comes up with a big play, puts him on the 2-yard line.
And Rasmussen, the handoff, touchdown. Moorpark responds, Royce Powell.
Huge play, huge drive right there for the Raiders. This is exactly what they needed. They needed to respond to that last touchdown, get some points in the second half. First points for them. Huge play from Rasmussen, or from McLeod Croton and Alexander Jones, picking up those air yards and then getting the ball in the end zone on the ground. 19-13 with 22 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. This to make it 20-13.
The extra point. Good 7-point game. As you said, 20-13 with 22.8 in the 3rd quarter. And what an amazing catch on 4th down and 5. Croton thought that they had another free play. They did jump, but got back in time before the snap. So he just sent one for Jones in an unbelievable grab.
That's why he's the #1 receiver in the conference, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, he definitely showed it right there. I mean, he's a yard away from touchdown number 7, but Powell punches it in, his first touchdown run since the 2nd week of the season against Santa Ana. He saw a little bit of trickery quarterback action last week with a touchdown pass. And Johnson will look to send it away.
Back to return for the Marauders, Iverson Daniels and Reese Robinson.
A kick away as Antelope Valley will look for an answer. A dribbler to the 15. And nowhere to go, wrapped up at the 25. 15 and a half seconds to go before we hit the 4th and final coverage and quarter. I mean, of the last home game here for Moorpark, barring them making a home bowl game. But with a 6-4 record, chances are if they were, they would be on the road.
Jalen Crawford hits the field with the offense. Marauders in the trips formation.
They go with a handoff up the middle, breaking a couple tackles. Still on his feet, nearing a 1st down. Bankard not able to get it.
Once again, an early down run play here. Electing to hand the ball off to Amir Bankhead. Gets through the gap, gets to the 2nd level. He's able to break some tackles, get a couple extra yards, but he's not able to pick up the 1st down. Now a 2nd and short for the Marauders, and we see a downed player here for injury. Can't quite see the number.
A lot of injuries in this game. Only one for the Raiders was CJ Jackson in the first quarter. But about 4 or 5 Antelope Valley players have gone down. This looks to be one of the offensive linemen. And he'll quickly get back to his feet with a little bit of help. And will be helped off the field. Kind of a similar look to their quarterback. There is Warren to start. He's now out for Crawford. That's number 52.
Right, and so far that's
Michael Garcia.
a key part of the game right now. It's very cold this evening. Players have got to find ways to stay warm, stay in this game, and get active out here. Cold definitely does not help with the injuries.
Cold makes the turf feel a little bit that much less forgiving, let's say. The Raiders, a little bit of confusion, adjusting to the bunch. It looks like they're outnumbered almost. On the bottom of the screen, a bunch to the right. Crawford, deep shot, wide open, past the defense, complete to Robinson. Inside the 35-yard line, and it looked like there was a little bit of miscommunication from the Raiders.
Correct. You see Robinson heading down the field on the hole shot down the sidelines, and Tajin Brown.
And they hurry to the line, and Bankhead will pick up about 5. And Antelope Valley looking to respond.
So far in the second half, both teams seeming to find their footing on offense. Some comfortable plays so far from the Marauders.
Here's Bankhead, burst of speed inside the 20, and he's tripped up in the secondary. A run of 15 will move the chains.
And now we see what we expected to be their game plan early in the game. A lot of runs to Bankhead. He's able to get to that second level. And once he gets to that second level with a head of steam, he's very hard to tackle.
And here he is for 4 once again, so leaning heavily on number 2 this drive. The last time these two teams met last season at Antelope Valley, they took the win 47-11 over Moorpark. Here's the play action, look towards the end zone, and incomplete, broken up. CJ Jackson on the coverage.
It's a jump ball situation there with CJ Jackson and Reese Robinson. CJ Jackson able to get his hands in there. A little bit of hand game, a battle from the offense and the defense, but no penalties called, bringing up a 3rd and 7 for the Marauders here in the red zone.
And a big 3rd down and 7. We'll see if they decide to go field goal to cut into the lead if they don't pick it up, or if they think it's worth going for it and they need to match touchdown for touchdown. Here's play action, Crawford. Screen pass to Bankhead. He slips through a tackle, tries to get back to the middle, but only end up picking 2 yards to gain, and it is 4th down and 5 to go. Decision time for Antelope Valley.
4th and 6 here. You just watched Moorpark put on a phenomenal drive for a touchdown. I think you got to leave your offense out there.
And they will. Crawford takes the snap. He steps up. He'll look to run. And we'll see the spot. He's right at the 9-yard line, which is where he needed to get. It depends on the official's spot. And another lineman limping off the field. Number 55, Lewis Wilson, the 5th. And the officials look to be calling an official timeout to measure. This is a huge turning point in this game. A 1st down would give Antelope Valley the chance to tie. with a goal-to-go situation from the 9. And if it's a turnover, Moorpark has a chance to extend their lead or at least stay alive and hold on to a 7-point advantage.
Right, Luke. If you give him the first down right here, Jalen Crawford on his feet.
And he doesn't get it.
They
He
will
is
not get
short by inches. And the Raider defense comes up with a crucial stop on the 4th down and 5. And they pick up about 4 3/4.
Huge stop here, possibly for the game. Raiders come out and put up a long enough drive with some points at the end of it. Field goal, touchdown regardless. This could seal the deal for the Moorpark Raiders.
We'll see if Croton can lead them. It would be 91 yards to reach the end zone.
The crowd getting wild here at Raider Pavilion.
They got to be amped up after that stop from their defense. Here's the handoff to Landless to calm things down. He'll pick up 4 and make it 5. It'll be 2nd and half to go.
And that's exactly what you want on this first down. Pick up a few yards, 5 yards to be exact, brings up a 2nd and 5, very manageable, but most importantly, keeps the clock running. And you continue to drive on these Antelope Valley Marauders.
And they're letting the clock run down as well. Here's play action. Croton firing deep, double coverage. And Stout had to turn into a defender there. This is a little overthrown. Incomplete. We're at 3rd and 5 to go for the Raiders.
They elect to go for the deep ball there. River Stout on the post. He is double covered. And it's a overthrow from Croton. Possibly the best option in double coverage there.
Yeah, you don't want that near any of the players. They get him to jump, but no flag is thrown. Another deep shot for Jones, and he makes another grab. Unbelievable. They cannot cover number 14. And even if they do, it doesn't matter.
And Luke, once again, we see the exact same play. A possible offsides by the defense, no call. Croton thinks he's got a free play. He throws it up to his number 1 guy, Alexander Jones, and he makes an immaculate catch right there. Gets his feet in bounds.
Well, that's
no way
the
to cover
second
that.
time as well. I mean, as you said, no way to cover that. Same with the one that was down on the 2 that led to the POW touchdown run. You can't guard something like that. And here's the handoff. About the 37, maybe a pickup of a yard is POW. And now 11 minutes to go. A huge first down for Moorpark.
We see Cameron Davis in there in the backfield with Royce Powell and McLeod Croton. A hint at a run play or a power set.
Croton takes the snap, drops back, firing over the middle. It looked like he had Batarse on the crossing route, but unable to connect, a little bit overthrown. You know, more pressure from that defensive front has disrupted a lot of Croton's throws.
Right, you got the rub route between Cameron Davis and Batarse. Cameron Davis heading up the field. Batarse breaks his route off and heads across the middle of the field, but pressure in the face of McLeod Croton forces him to throw the ball a little bit higher than he wanted. Makes an incompletion and sets up a 3rd and long here for the Raiders.
Revis Keener in motion. He'll bubble towards the right. Croton over the middle. Batarse this time. It's on the mark for a first down. Another huge 3rd down conversion for Moorpark. Make that 2 in a row, and they're moving.
Huge pass and catch there from McLeod Croton and Blake Batarse. He sees him, open window right in the middle of the field, right on the money. He's able to pick up the first down right at the 50-yard line here. We see them in the spread formation.
There's the handoff. Powell met in the backfield as he tries to fight. He'll lose 1. And we're at 10 minutes. The clock keeps ticking down. About 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes really, taken off the clock from the Raiders. I wouldn't think on one drive they're going to take 12 minutes off the clock, but the more they can, especially if they score, sets them up in better position to win this game. And they got him, and this time the flag is thrown. And this one thrown out of bounds was looking for River Stout. But this is going to be a, well, not a replay down. Well, it will be a replay down, but they'll tack on 5 yards, so it'll be 2nd and 6. And, I mean, I don't think I've seen a quarterback ever cash in on a hard count 5 times in a single game. It's amazing what Croton has been able to do here tonight.
Picking up an extra 5 yards from the hard count. He sees that it's a free play. He throws it up. It's a chance ball, but nothing to lose there. Get some extra yards, and now they're into Marauder territory here. So far, the drive has been perfect for him so far, keeping the clock running.
And here's the handoff to Landless. The draw, Landless bounces off a couple defenders like a pinball in the middle, and he picks up a first.
And this is exactly what they want. So far, they've been keeping the clock running. They're picking up some yards. They're moving slow and steady, but they're very efficient right now. They haven't had a penalty on this drive, opposed to the Marauders penalty giving them an extra 5 yards.
And Croton pulls it. He's going to run it himself. He gets a block. Croton gets a first down, leaping out of bounds. Make it 4 consecutive third down or 3 consecutive third downs, and now a first down once again. That's 4 on this drive with 9 minutes to go. 3.5 taken off the clock. And the Raider offense is putting in work right now.
You see Alexander Jones off to the left by himself.
Croton's going to fire that way. A little zig route for Jones. Catches and stretches to the 20. That'll be a pickup of 6, so bring up 2nd down and 4 to go.
You got cornerback Jamie Hawkins, number 4, out there playing off on Alexander Jones. Not trying to risk another deep ball there. Sets up a quick passing play on the hitch route.
And now they go screen. He's got a block up ahead. Jukes inside, back to the outside. Jones had his eyes on the end zone, but he's inside the 10 and knocked out at the 8.
Another heads-up play from Jones. He's able to stay on his feet. Gets that catch on the screen pass. Amazing blocking downfield. Picks up some few yards and a first down. Here they are in the red zone.
Here's Croton looking to pass, firing for Stout. Complete, turns to the outside, stays on his feet. Touchdown, Moorpark. River Stout finds the end zone. And they add on to their lead. The penalty most likely after the play. It came in late.
There we see another quick pass. It's a hitch. River Stout. He's got the mismatch, much larger than the DB, and he's able to break a tackle and walk into the end zone. That's going to make it 26-13 with 8 minutes left. Daniel Burke out here to attempt the extra point.
A little bit of an excessive celebration from River Stout.
Looked like it was a Gronk spike out there to get the penalty.
Well, he made a play like that, and he felt he needed a little bit of a cherry on top. But there's not a more perfect drive Moorpark could have just put together in this game. I mean, taking up 4.5 minutes of game time. There's 8:07 left on the clock. And you scored a touchdown to move it to a 14-point lead, barring this extra point, which is good from Burke. So it is 27-13 and a 91-yard drive from Moorpark that was carried on the back of Alexander Kapka-Jones and finished off by River Stout. And Croton was dissecting the defense, and he did a great job.
And possibly the greatest drive of the season for the Moorpark Raiders, and it comes perfect timing right near the end of the game in a outstanding performance from Alexander Jones and McLeod Croton, linking up for 3 catches right there. And they continue to put the pressure on the Marauders. 8 minutes left in this ball game. It is 27-13. Moorpark Raiders are up.
And they'll kick off from the 20 after the 15-yard personal foul. Now you got to be careful. You got to make sure you don't let Robinson do what he already has tonight, and let's get a kick return touchdown. You got to try to keep this momentum on your side for as long as possible and force Antelope Valley to put together a long, time-consuming drive. Squib kick fielded at the 45. That'll be Marshall across midfield to about the 42, so great field position after that 15-yard penalty.
Right, and you've got to wonder what the scheme is here with that squib kick, setting them up in Raider territory, possibly forcing them to make some plays early here, maybe getting a stop and maybe get some field position for yourself after this drive.
We'll see Crawford. He's sort of sparked a little bit of life into this offense. We'll see if he's got a little bit more juice left in him. Deep shot, double coverage. And making an amazing grab over Jackson and Pierce. That's going to be a first down inside the 20. What a grab.
That's Reese Robinson, number 6, their leading receiver out there. Amazing throw and catch from Jalen Crawford.
And here's Marshall cutting it back into the left side. And he's going to only pick up about 2. And another late flag. I mean, at this point in the game, this has happened to both teams numerous amount of times. The whistle's blown, just walk to your side. I mean, you're costing your team crucial penalty yards in a huge game, the biggest game of your season for either team leading up into this point. Now, granted, for Moorpark, last week was their biggest game going into it. They didn't come out with the win. So that moves this game to the top of the list of importance where they need to win. Same for Antelope Valley. They had a loss to Santa Barbara. That guaranteed Santa Barbara winning the conference because they beat Antelope Valley and Moorpark, the first and second place teams right behind them. And now you get 15 yards on Moorpark. That is costly. And Antelope Valley, they're just going to take up these penalties every single time. They're going to encourage you and egg you on to try to get this because they know your temper's short right now and you've done it throughout the course of the game. That's smart football from Antelope Valley. Just keep your hands to yourselves on these kind of plays. Now Crawford to the end zone, single coverage, incomplete. Salah Hill breaks him up and very unhappy.
Right, and you mentioned the discipline, and we've seen so far late in games, Moorpark will go up and sort of lose their game and create these penalties and create these problems for themselves. And here we see once again a penalty after the play sets up some extra yards for the Marauders. And here they are driving, scoring territory with 8 minutes left.
Here's the handoff. Marshall nowhere to go. He'll lose 2. And it is now 3rd down and goal to go from the 9.
Loss of 3 makes it 3rd and goal from the 12.
Bankhead checking into the game, along with Ty Eli and Arnulfo Morales for the Raider defense.
And a big 3rd down, and I would say obvious 4-down territory at this point. You need a touchdown down 14 with under 7 to go. You got 6:45 on the clock. Shotgun snap for Crawford. Stepping up in the pocket, Ty Eli is going to bring him down for the sack. And that brings up a 4th down and goal to go, and a long way at that. Back to the 16.
Huge play for the defense, must needed by Ty Eli. Crawford thinks he has some space, able to run it, but Ty Eli, full head of steam, he's able to catch him, bring him down in the backfield. Huge sack, brings up a 4th and 15 from the goal for the Marauders.
They're going to call a timeout, the Raiders do. Leaves them with 1 left in the half, but up 14. 6:17 to go. I would say this is a smart timeout call. You need to make sure you have your best play call out there, your best defense out there. And I'd assume pass defense. You want to have a couple, maybe an extra guy or so back deep in the end zone. Because you stop them here, 6:17. After that last drive, you should have full confidence that you can take down the majority of the time and leave Antelope Valley in a very, very tough situation to claw their way back into this game.
right? And this is a big 4th down right here, Luke, like you said. You get the stop, huge confidence in your team, and the possibilities of winning are tremendous if you get this stop.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have the little ESPN percent tracker to see what each play would result. But nonetheless, 4th down and goal. Crawford takes the snap, stepping up, in trouble, makes a move. He's got to run it the entire way. He's not going to get there. Brought down at the 8-yard line. A turnover on downs. And it's Crawford. You got to, on one of those plays, the pressure came, but you got to let that one fly 16 yards out.
That one is definitely a passing play. Regardless of what you see, you got to get that ball up, and you got to give your receivers a chance.
Even if it's double coverage, triple coverage, if no one's open. I mean, we've seen a lot of jump balls go towards the offensive way tonight, and I feel like on 4th down, you just got to try to let it go. As you said, it's a passing. Even if it's not there, you got to send it, because at worst, it's intercepted, and Moorpark gets the ball.
And it's a turnover.
And it's a turnover regardless, but they needed a touchdown. They do not get it. And the defense of Moorpark has stepped up in this game. And I'd say they're the key factor as why they're up 2 scores late in the 4th quarter. They got 2 turnovers, handful of turnover on down. Same with Antelope Valley. They've caused quite a few 4th downs to go their own way.
Now we see the final timeout taken by Moorpark. Looked like some misinterpretation on the offensive side.
You definitely want that cleared up starting your final drive.
Much like the last drive for the Moorpark Raiders, they're going to want to continue to take time off the clock, bring in some solid runs. We see Ty Eli in the backfield.
Washington 37, Oregon 34.
There's the give to the left side, spinning inside. Quentin Poole on the carry. I'll get about 1.
Cameron Davis checks into the game for Ty Eli.
This is almost, I'd say for every drive Moorpark has, it's essential for Antelope Valley to force a 3 and out. I mean, you need as much time as you can get. You have to hold on to those 3 timeouts, hoping you get the ball back, score, and then use them to stop the Raider offense.
Right, Luke, best case scenario here for the Marauders is a 3rd and out, a very solid return from the punt.
But here's Poole on the carry and guaranteed 1st down here.
So once again, we see multiple running backs on that draw. They're able to pick up some yardage and a 1st down, keeps the drive going and keeps the clock moving as best as you can get so far on this drive.
Now we're under 5 minutes to go. Moorpark on the verge of their best season in 8 years. They would be their first time over 500 since 2016. And Antelope Valley trying to avoid 5-5, a 500 season. And here's a handoff. Picks up about 7. And we haven't seen Pooler all night on either side of the football. He's been out there on special teams. But you're bringing in a power back that's fresh to ice the game. I like this coaching decision to sort of substitute a fresh guy in that they haven't seen all night. And he's definitely, knowing this, he's definitely been ready to run. He's showing it right now.
Solid decision by Coach Mike Stewart. Bring in Quentin Pooler. Tough back to take down. The only thing you're telling him is hold on to the ball, keep the ball safe, and lay some people out here and try and get some yards late in the game.
Here's a low snap. Croton will keep it himself. And he's going to be bottled up and dropped for no gain. But inbound, so the clock will continue to run. When it stops at 3:45, a flag is down. See what the call is. The officials huddled at the 30-yard line where Croton went down. And they're going to get a holding on Arcelis Johnson. Will back Moorpark up 10 yards. So it'll be 2nd down and 13 to go.
It'll be 2nd and 13.
Now the Raiders' possible passing situation, or they could just see a conservative run it a couple times and trust your defense.
Right, you got a 2nd and long here. You could pass it. I'm expecting them to continue with the run here, keep it safe.
And they do. Pooler, a huge lane up the middle. Pooler trying to outrace the defense, and he's across midfield inside the 45.
That's going to be the dagger right there, Luke. They had them in their own territory. The penalties put them back in a 2nd and long position right there, but Quentin Pooler, fresh off the sidelines, all the energy he needs, and he's able to pick up a 40-yard gain here to bring it into Marauder territory. Clock is continuing to move, and the Raiders are looking comfortable here.
And the offensive line of Moorpark definitely deserves a little bit of credit here. They're doing a great job late in the game opening these holes for Pooler. I mean, that one right there, he was untouched, shot out of a cannon. They give it to him again. Play action, and Arcelis Johnson dropped a possible touchdown, guaranteed 1st down, but he would have had to outrace the defenders, and that stops the clock with 2:40 to go.
Right, Luke. Quick play action pass right there. Bounces off the hands of Arcelis Johnson and stops the clock, but it's still a 2nd and 10 here. Raiders in a good spot on the Marauder side of the 50-yard line. We have 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. It is 27-13. Moorpark Raiders are up.
Croton out of the gun. Hand off to Davis. Only pick up about 2, but the clock will run. They won't have to snap it till under 2 minutes left. As you said, that very well could have been the dagger from Pooler, that huge 30-yard run.
Now, regardless of how this drive ends, they will be able to either punt the ball or get some points here, icing the game, or putting the Marauders back in their own territory up against their own end zone.
Here's the handoff, Pooler, and he's still fighting. There's about 5 Marauders on top of him, not able to bring him down. And that'll bring up 4th down after a 3rd down and 9 run. So it'll be about 4th and 5 to go, and a timeout called by Antelope Valley with 1:40 to go. So they're going to try to play the onside kick game if they even have the chance of it. They got to focus on getting in the end zone first, something they have not done in over a quarter. They only have 1 offensive touchdown, the other a kick return in the 1st quarter.
Right, Luke, they're going to get the ball back here, depending on how the Raiders elect to spend this 4th down, assuming they're going to punt. They might get the ball around the 25 if it's a touchback, or they might get the ball in between their own 10-yard line. They're going to need to make a long drive here, obvious passing situation, nearly every down. Got to get to the sidelines, maybe some arrows out in the flats, some corner routes, trying to stretch that defense, trying to get some completions here. But they're going to have to score quickly, and they're going to have to formulate some sort of play on special teams to get the ball back.
And Moorpark not looking to play the field position game. They trust their defense enough, and they're going to try to pick up the 4th down. That would surefire end this game. They're going to try the hard count again for Croton. Not going to work out, and they'll take a delay of game to give Tony Johnson a better chance at avoiding a touchback. I mean, why not when you've drawn them off sides 5 times already?
Of course, try and pick up those extra yards. If you get that jump, you get the extra 5 yards, plus maybe a free play. You can elect to throw it on that free play, or after that, redo down, and it would be like a 4th and 1. Now instead, taking the delay, giving some space for Tony Johnson. He should be able to punt this one in between the 10-15 yard line.
High snap, Johnson. Punt is away. This one angled and out of bounds. We'll see where they mark it.
Johnson's punt marked out of bounds.
And they're going to put it all the way back at the 20-yard line. So not a terrible punt, but equals about a touchback either way. And 1:34 to go.
1:34, we see the Antelope Valley Marauders huddling up, formulate a game plan for possibly their last drive of the game.
For the Raiders, you just got to be telling your safeties and corners, don't bite on anything. We're okay giving up 15-yard plays. We can't afford the 40 yards, the 50, 60, 70, even 80 for a touchdown here.
Right, and you almost want to leave the middle open. You want to, if they want to go for the middle of the field, let them have it. There's not nearly enough time for them. You want to stay on the outsides. You want to make sure you cover deep.
Crawford spins out of the pocket, delivers. And Solid Hill will be driven, and they'll mark him inbounds, so the clock will run. Forward progress, inbounds. Amir Bankhead with the grab.
And the clock is continuing to run. They're not hurrying up to the line as fast as normally.
We're nearing the final minute. A free play over the middle, complete, and brought down short of the 40. A catch to Shamir Washington. His first catch of the night comes in the 4th quarter with a minute to go. Offsides defense, penalty declined.
They will pick up the first down in the middle of the field with a pass to Shamir Washington.
52.3 to go. They still have 2 timeouts if they want to use it. And they would have to use them to get into the end zone. It'd be no use on defense. Deep shot over the middle. And that's gonna be complete. Caught over Pierce. A great catch by Tajin Brown. His 4th of the day.
Clock is continuing to run. They're going to have to snap the ball quickly here.
Here's Crawford. Scans the field, steps up in the pocket, now to his left. Fires downfield and incomplete.
So that's going to
second
stop.
10. Now, you go ahead.
that incompletion is going to stop the clock here. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 with 28.5 seconds left in this 4th quarter.
Second down, Crawford steps up, fires, complete, and thrown down. A great open field tackle to keep the clock running, Christian Kohulan. Pass was complete to Robert James.
So far setting up these plays correctly, but not executing them to the best of their ability. You got to try and get out of bounds right there, catch the ball, turn towards the sideline, pick up as many yards as you can, but there he's tackled inbounds, forcing them to use another one of their timeouts.
We got 1 left, 13.2. They need a miracle if they want any chance. A touchdown, an onside kick, and then a Hail Mary is the only opportunity, and they have to do it right now. It's not something I don't think you've ever really seen in football. It doesn't happen. But as long as there's time on the clock, you can't rule anyone out. The Raiders 13 seconds away from an undefeated home record and capping off a great regular season Here's Crawford under pressure. He's going to go down for the sack.
And they will call a timeout to save the last 6 seconds of the game.
And that's the sack leader of the season, Arnulfo Morales. Gets his first of the day, leading his total to 5.5 sacks. And the final play.
Another huge defensive play coming here at the end of the game. Pushes them back to the 50-yard line. It's going to be a long ball situation here. Deep passing. And Moorpark is celebrating.
That's going to be a Hail Mary attempt. And Moorpark has definitely dug their feet in this second half, especially this fourth quarter. Put together some long touchdown drives. Here's the last play. Crawford sends it up. Intercepted. And returned to the 30. Braden Robinson, he had a pick six the last time. And he's brought down at the 35. And Moorpark improves to 6-4, over 500 with a 27-13 win over Antelope Valley.
I think that last play kind of describes the way the game has gone. Effective play on the offense, but credit the defense for this game. 3 turnovers here, an interception late in the game, seals the win for the Moorpark Raiders, continuing to dominate on all aspects of the ball. We see McLeod Croton get his first start, a complete game from him, very efficient, and another insane performance from Alexander Jones once again.
I mean, Alexander Jones, we talked about him being the leader in conference in touchdown receptions yards. And you mentioned it during the game. He just showed why. He put together an amazing fourth quarter that led to 2 touchdowns that iced the game, was the difference maker in this one. The Raider defense did a great job. Not enough turnovers forced by Antelope Valley. They didn't force a single turnover in terms of, except for a 4th down, and that ended up costing them in the end. The Raiders forced 3, including that last interception. That pushed them over top for the victory. Heading into the postseason, possibly for the Raiders, they go 6-4. They did what they needed to do. For Antelope Valley, it's uncertain for them, but for Moorpark, they have a lot heading. They'll find a name. And Ian, this game before.
And they're going to punch in their 6-4 ticket to prove themselves as a bowl game team here. And once again, dominance on all levels of the ball. A close game as we thought it would be. Similar records from both teams. Moorpark comes out, continues to put on a great performance here at home, undefeated home record, and they are 4-1 in conference. We'll see how the postseason goes for the Moorpark Raiders.
And we would like to give a special thank you for helping us throughout this entire season. This broadcast is not possible with the help of Michael Grimes, Matt Crater, and our entire broadcasting crew. They do an amazing job every single week here at home, setting up equipment hours before and hours after. We'd like to thank them for providing this platform and for covering these games for you guys. We'd like to give a special thank you to them. And for the last time in this regular season, I'm Luke Lamont, your play-by-play commentator, joined alongside Ian Handy, your color commentator. The Raiders win and finish the season 6-4, and we hope to see you for a bowl game next week or the week after. And thank you all for joining us, and good night.